Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. That's right, folks. We are live again. We are back at it. We are here for NXT. Of course, it's a Tuesday. Congratulations. You got Monday Senior in the books. Hump Day tomorrow, Friday Junior Friday. So the weekend is right there. And we got lots going on here on the channel all week long, folks. But at hand, NXT tonight. Lots to talk about. I think we're going to spend a lot of time on stream tonight talking about Vince because he can't keep himself out of the headlines. But I mean, it's the most interesting thing in wrestling right now. And we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to the wrestling. We're gonna get to the action. We're gonna have a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. So strap in, folks. Let's go. Ding, ding, ding. We are live. We are live. Right now, we are getting a recap of last week's NXT and the ongoings there. Tonight, we got lots of action ahead, like I said. And just a reminder, in case I didn't say it enough, we are the Wrasslin for Life Network. I am Mr. Every Night KJ White, and I am joined by that pretty face who likes to introduce himself.
All the way. Yeah, what? I am Big Nick. What? Yeah, right now we're getting the fallout from New Year's Eve. But how you doing, you beautiful bastards?
Yeah. How's everyone out there doing? Are you guys feeling good? Having a good day? I see people showing up already. The chat's starting to fill up. How you doing?
I'm doing good. But like you were saying, if Vince just can't keep himself out of the headlines, of just stop doing whatever it is you're doing, Vince. Just stop.
It's a fucking episode of Empire. It's an episode of fucking Yellowstone. Game of Thrones. Like every time you come back from commercial break, something else goes fucking nuts. And you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm not. If someone out there is more fluent in the business world than I am, but I've never seen a company lose so many execs in the process of trying to sell their company ever.
I mean, now I'm getting the vibe that the board and everyone else was like, wait, we don't want to sell? Because, I mean, if
it's really going to just come down to, it's going to be Vince at one end and Hunter at the other, and then Tony Khan just having, pass the, butter between the two.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, at this point, I'm just waiting for the news about Triple H, and I hate to say it, knock on wood, but I'm waiting to hear, like, that. And, I mean, we saw another exec, the VP of Communications, if I'm accurate.
VP of Public Relations. So the company's VP of Communications. So they kind of blend both titles and everything. But interesting.
The guy doing the talking. Sorry, Nick.
No, I was just going to say, interesting how we didn't get a statement from WWE about them selling to Saudi or the deal being allegedly involved with Saudi. Mm-hmm. And now the guy who would have put out the statement steps down.
They're like, we need you to write a letter. He's like, fuck no.
Right. That's like Steph with, there will be no change in management. 4 days later, resigns.
Yeah, he's like, listen, I know 80% of what you're asking me to put out to the public is bullshit. I can't be part of this. Not to mention, big money people always get nervous at lawsuits. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Going to throw lawsuits around. At what point do I get named in the lawsuit? Oh, I don't want to be investigated. I gotta go.
Absolutely, but right now we've got Carmelo and Trick out in the ring already, and we've got Axiom, the Power Ranger,
Razor Wing.
So, yeah, Razor Wing knockoff.
Man, he definitely trips you out, though. What a weird tag team, Nick. We're gonna kick off tonight. We talk about booking. Dude, the slow motion shit's not necessary, but
it's the superheroes. It's the superheroes versus Carmelo and Trick.
Yeah, it's the super hazy.
Apollo Crews is just Luke Cage.
Right. But yeah, what a weird combo. Apollo and Axiom.
They just went, Vince was just going through the roster and he started at the A's and just stopped there.
Now there's rumors that Hunter's starting to, hear, Papa Vince knocking on his door, being like, so.
Not just Hunter, throughout multiple departments. I guess I saw reports that they're saying that there's an internal countdown clock until Vince takes over creative again.
Yeah, they got it's fucking a
giant timer there, and Hunter's just constantly looking at him. Shit, I gotta get the things in order now. I
You
only
got
got 10
office
more
pool going
hours.
on. You got the office pool going on.
Oh God. Yeah.
Right?
Hunter's just doing this as a side hustle. He knows when he's going to quit.
Right? But I mean, especially generally when a company's on the verge of purchase, people like to hang around because they want to get paid.
Pay out.
And even Stephanie went as far as she could have went back on leave of absence and still been a part of technically the team. But she said no.
What did Vince do that was the breaking point after everything that we've seen him do on TV with Steph and everything? That was the breaking point to where she not only just goes back on her leave, she just says, fuck it, I'm out of here. I quit.
Dude, I still have a big feeling in my gut that she walked in the room and went like, "You hear this Saudi shit?" And he was like, "I was talking to them," and she was like, "Oh no, you weren't."
I
Bye.
set it up now.
And then the minute, like again, because
Oh,
again, another thing is when you got a whole lot of pocket change and you're involved in all these business opportunities and you're part of boards and shareholders and execs, you don't want to be associated with certain things.
oh, absolutely. And sorry, I don't mean to
Not
transition
at
back
all.
to the show we're watching here, but
There's a show.
did it trust me, or has Trick really surprised you lately?
Yes.
Even right now, I'm just watching him in the ring, and he 100% looks
Ooh.
just as much as he could be a breakout star, just like Carmelo.
You know what though, and you're not wrong at all because he's got good size, Nick. I mean, he's tall and I mean that's not the only reason why, guys. Hold on.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean he's got good size, he's got a good look, and at first he was kind of quiet and awkward. We weren't really sure. He was in a couple goofy things, but man, Carmelo and Trick have been absolute money. Even I want them to continue, even if they get called up to the main roster. I want them to continue those barbershop sessions. I thought
Oh,
those
absolutely.
were
What if they're part of the new Hurt business
man. I'm
of
down. I
Omos,
mean,
MVP, Lashley, Trick, and Carmelo?
well, again, I had a theory last night about Lashley not
Ooh,
joining, and then what does the evil guy do? Go find a new Lashley. So
right.
if the Hurt
Oh,
business was maybe Cedric and Benjamin and Carmelo and Trick, you get greedy with one more maybe, Omos,
Omos.
and they go after Lashley because now they're an enemy of the Hurt business, and he
Fair
refused.
enough. Not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. As a hell of a back and forth. And Carmelo and Apollo in the ring together are fantastic.
Yes, Dale has. Yeah, they are. They really are. I mean, this match starts off with a crazy pace, and then we've talked about Carmelo. A lot
Two
of
count,
people
two
talk
count.
about Braun Breaker, but the dude was really the breakout star of NXT in 2022.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh shit!
I love that the freaking tornado into the arm breaker.
Right? Um, True or false? Apollo Crews will be in the Rumble.
False.
False. Carmelo Hayes.
Accusations. As in on the fence.
On the fence. I think Carmelo Hayes is a shoo-in.
Really. I still think, and as we're in commercial now, so I guess it's perfect time that I can talk about this because now that they've already advertised Cody for the Rumble, I
Yeah.
think that means that there's more surprises on the horizon. I wish
Yes.
that they would have held this off,
Mhm.
but it tells me that there's still more.
Yeah, wait till it all unfolds, and I'll jump into my opinion on that real quick. But first, I just want to say hi, Ronnie, Victor, Damien, Aaron, Polo, Larry, Jordan, Jack,
Brian, what up?
Mark.
Like Chris's comment here. Trick with the
Bobby.
MJF pants. That
Oh,
must be why I liked him.
say that again. Click that again.
Chris said
Oh,
Trick with the MJF pants. He's got the Burberry on his,
right,
wrestling
right.
gear and everything. So that must have been why I instantly
Mhm,
started liking him.
mhm. No, Trick's come a long way. He really picked his game up, and I mean, like I said, he was right there for a very good year for Carmelo. Anytime he's been in the ring, he looks like he's got the makings of someone that can go. And again, he's got the look, he's got an attitude. I'm all for it.
Oh, and absolutely. Do you remember when he was even selling of being afraid to climb the ladder?
Yeah,
And
right.
is that the little mini ladder?
Yeah. Trick Williams and Carmelo for the win. I agree with Damien.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're shoe-in. I think it was Polo there, Ryan, who said about how Carmelo and Trick deserve a main roster call-up, and we talked about that of they
Mhm.
should end up. I I could see them in the Hurt Business. You said you could see them in the Hurt Business. They don't have to be in per se, but I do think they're a better fit for the main roster.
I'm not totally sold yet because I do believe that you need to bring NXT to some form of respectability. NXT is embarrassing. We'll be truthful. We've always been really transparent here on this channel with all our crowd. We've literally considered not doing a Tuesday. We're like, we'll put something else here, like we kind of do on Thursdays, because the show has gotten really bad. Even with Shawn Michaels, I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, like, there's nothing that makes me want to tune in. Like, if we weren't doing a live stream and I was just on the couch picking, my belly button lint, I wouldn't naturally just, I think I should check into NXT out tonight because nothing's drawing me in.
You're not wrong, but I was also going to say, by the way, like, share, and subscribe to the video and everything after that horror.
After that spiel.
Right. But no, I think
yeah,
there's a lot of bullshit you have to sift through. I think there is still good points in there. Like, we've got Gallus coming up tonight, like we're talking about right now with Trick and Carmelo. We've got Tyler Bate coming back. There's a lot of good there. It's just, unfortunately, you have to sift through a lot of bullshit. It still seems like if we're talking about Vince being in charge of creative, even though I know Sean's at the helm of this, it still feels like a Vince McMahon run show.
A little bit. And I mean, yeah, kind of. And that's where I was going with it, Nick, is you maybe hold on to a Carmelo. Now, if Carmelo doesn't go up to the main roster sooner than later, he just has to be a standout superstar at the top of this company, the top of this brand. You have to have him up at that level, either winning the belt or challenging for the belt or in the mix for the belt. You can't have him hanging out with Axiom too much longer, or you outright move him up. I'm okay with him sitting at the top of the roster for a little bit.
But what if you slide some guys like we saw Jinners coming down to NXT for a little bit while Veer's out? That maybe if you slide some of those guys, oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. If you slide some of those guys into NXT, that maybe help guys like Axiom or an Apollo Crews or what have you.
Right. Is Roxanne Perez on tonight? She's supposed to be here, but she's not fighting until next week, I believe.
I haven't seen her advertised. The most I've seen advertised for the women is we're getting Gigi and JC Jane talking about how they're both number one contender now. They pulled Batista they both eliminated themselves at the same time.
Very true. Hello, what's up, Kayla? How you doing tonight? Hope you're well. Lauren, I hope you're doing well, even though that high was for someone else.
Duo German suplexes right now from Apollo and Axiom on. Oh, and now
there you go.
Rick and Carmelo.
But to your point, Nick, you see Trick this whole time, like as they're getting up here, he's selling every bit of it.
Yeah, well, his in-ring selling, his emotions, all of that, his physicality in the ring is what really sells everything with them.
Nice.
1, 2.
Carmelo throws
to a 2 count.
Carmelo throws Axiom's foot and then hits him with a huge bulldog.
Oh.
Or lariat, if you want to call it that.
Lariato.
NXT has Cora Jade and Tiffany Stratton. Bright future, real bright. Oh,
hey, we're not talking about taking exams here, but
listen, if you're going to take the hammer to the piggy bank, I hope you got a few more coins than that in there.
Whew, I like Cora Jade though. I know you have beef with her for some reason, but I like Cora Jade. Tiffany Stratton still, I guess, a wait and see of. She looks like $1 million, but I feel like it's going to be Eva Marie 2.0.
I don't even think I hate saying this because everyone's beautiful in their own way. She to me, I don't know. She doesn't do anything. And you have this big countdown to New Year's 10 days late. And then the minute she speaks, you're like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
Stop talking. Stop.
Yeah. It's almost at a pitch that only the dogs can recognize.
Jillian Hall. She's Jillian Hall.
Now, if you were to bill her like that, it might get over with me.
You just make her the Britney Spears knockoff again?
Yeah, like a big old pain in the ass. Oh, that works better than this, I'm going to try really hard. Yeah. Okay. No.
I think that's part of it, though, is she's supposed to be annoying as shit. Pop-up clothesline from Apollo on a Carmelo. Apollo hulking up.
Davey had a good point. Was Carmelo's debut again versus Adam Cole.
Ooh, that's interesting to think that still happened, honestly.
It's crazy. And then in addition to that, I mean, I think a lot of people thought Odyssey Jones was going to win that breakout tournament. And here comes Carmelo, and he hasn't failed. So
right. Sandy moots out from Carmelo for a 2 count. But yeah, and Odyssey Jones is just now kind of coming back, and still he's stuck with social gathering, as you've like
social gathering.
So he's already kind of seen ooh, that's an interesting way to
just
wow. We were all wrong. That's a hell of a way to get a pinfall like that. I mean, it's a modified, I guess, roll up to an extent. It's a dude buster pin, but he didn't actually hit the move. He just kind of sat on him, teabagged him for the pin.
Well, if you had Carmelo and Trick on your bingo card, you're screwed.
I'm going to see a lot of 0-1s in the chat right now.
Yeah, I want to see these 0-1s. I know Dale's 0-1 tonight. He's with me.
Oh, we've got now an episode of The Sopranos. We've got Tony and Half-Stacks walking on the bridge.
Did I ever wonder why they could have found another Italian to come in, right? No?
No, they're busy finding Samoans. Well, we're getting the appreciation ceremony at Raw 30, and where all the cousins, all the family, all the uses are invited. If you're an Uso, you can show up to Raw 30, and we'll be here.
People rumbling.
Well, I've seen Jacob Fatu's name thrown out. I've seen The Rock's.
Would you imagine like a collective shows up and you're like, wait a minute, this is really weird. Even if they're not like, because you don't really, they don't have to be committed to the company to pull this off. But now I'm being right. However, a lot of people were like, wait, The Rock's a relative. The Rock's a relative. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. He can't be in the Rumble, Nick. He can be a, he could maybe he could cause trouble for Roman at the Rumble.
Maybe.
But he can't be in the Rumble. He can't win the Rumble.
No.
Sami Zayn eliminates The Rock.
I've got a whole theory when it comes to Sami and everything. I said we just had it looking like Tony was about to whack.
Yeah.
It's there. Pause.
Big
so he's becoming a main man. He's a main man of the family now. That's what we were just watching.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I think does the appreciation ceremony sound a little bit like the Festival of Friendship. And maybe this is where we have Roman you get the Sammy's heart just ripped out. That, or if some people think that Sami and KO have been working along together.
Now would be the time.
Now's the time to play into that story, because you're having that match at the Rumble versus you have plenty of time to still build to The Rock. The Rock could show up the week before fucking Mania and walk into
it doesn't matter. Yeah, no, true. Bad form. And we will get back into the Cody thing, folks, because I know it came up earlier and then we went on our tangents. But
happens when you got the vitamins.
Yeah, it just happens when you got lots to say. And on the vitamins.
Jacoby, what up?
Sorry, I get distracted by Gigi.
I don't blame you getting distracted by Gigi. It happens to me quite often. Sup, KJ and Nick? Did you see Jacob Fatu comment on the WWE thing?
Yeah.
I didn't see. Did Jacob respond to it?
Yeah. What was the exact word?
I got Twitter here.
I love that's the one fun part, like where I think the wrestlers need to play with social media better, because those little sarcastic comments, and like you saw what Bray's done with social media, right?
Oh, that's where a whole chunk of the White Rabbit storyline was built through, was social media and the QR codes and everything.
Yeah. A smile mark. I like this. I hope we get a gimmick battle royal. That'd be dope. I'm in. Doink, Repo. Doink's not with us anymore, man. And Repo Man might not be either.
You can just have Brooklyn Brawler just show up and play like half.
There you go. And the way we still got Shane Helms, and we still got, you
got little Petey Pump. Use him. Bring him out. You got Abyss, Joseph Parks.
Yes.
But so I'm looking at Jacob Fatu's Twitter right now, and so he retweeted a tweet from Heyman, and all it said is the 100 emoji and then the Samoan flag.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I've been wanting Jacob Fatu to be in WWE.
Could you
for
imagine
the longest
every
time.
free agent Samoan in wrestling show up?
Shut up and take my money. Well,
you need an outdoor facility.
Booker T come out trying to endorse Jacob Fatu as well, too. Obviously,
you have
he falls into a little bit of the Nick Gage-ish Briscoe brothers type issue of because of past transgressions that sometimes companies kind of get a little hesitant with him.
Yeah,
but yeah, absolutely still with him. You
give
me
enough. Yeah, there's
you
enough.
Give me him versus Roman and shut up and take my money.
There's enough people on the roster and the alum that have checkered past that, like, come on, let's not be ridiculous unless it's something.
Well, one of them showing back up too at Raw 30 with Ric Flair, the Nature Boy.
There you go. We can forgive Nate. We can forgive anybody. Really?
But Jacob doesn't go woo.
No, that's very true. But Jacob kicks a whole lot of fucking ass.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, for anyone that goes and watches Jacob Fatu, do not cross the barricade. Don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid.
There's video evidence out there of what happens when you try and be stupid with that man.
They're like, he's just a wrestler. No, and it's different.
Mowing badass for a reason. But no, I think that we have that whole thing happens and they just rip the heart out of Sammy, because we've talked about how it's halfway almost kind of become a foregone conclusion that we might allegedly supposedly get Sammy versus Roman at Elimination Chamber in Montreal. So
you know what would be cool if they said, listen, we're gonna put one of your like kind of wrapping in all of our theories that we've had as of late, and one of your pitches and a couple of mine were like Sammy goes into the Elimination Chamber, and the winner of that gets to go for one of Roman's belts on night one. But then you still have the Royal Rumble winner. So I don't know how they play that. That would be if The Rock isn't around. But I still don't love a 2-night Roman event.
What if Sammy pulls a Daniel Bryan? Because this whole Elimination Chamber stuff feels very Kofi versus Bryan.
Yes.
When we got Kofi Mania and all of that. And I've said it's along that same lines. What if we get Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan's himself, WrestleMania 30 into the main event? Roman, Rock, Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn goes over. And either the wrestling world rejoices or is horrified.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that this is the closest to having like a Bret Hart come to Montreal and perform, or come to Toronto and perform, where the crowd is going to be ballistic. Even if they were the worst heels and on the lower card, the crowd's going to go nuts for the local boys. But you already know what type of crowd you're getting north of the border. Like, it's going to be a loud building. Yeah.
Hey, your favorite girl's on, well, one of them's now on TV there, Tiffany Stratton, and we've got blonde on blonde action as she's getting interviewed backstage.
She looks athletic. Right here before she speaks, she looks like she's got a good thing going.
How they're replaying how she was locked out of her locker room?
Who gives a shit?
Right. Oh, Indy was in there. Right.
Oh.
She reminds me of how a lot of people, or at least how I'm a fan of like Lash Legend too, and a lot of people aren't so high on her. I'm saying with Tiffany Stratton, of they look super athletic, and for whatever reason, people just kind of are like, yeah.
Here's the thing. I have that feeling about just about everybody on this show, and mostly because of all these side, like all these little snippets, all these little backstage things. They're so fucking awful. I can't. It turns me on the whole situation. And I think that's my problem with Tiffany. I think it was my problem with Lash Legend. Like, they gave her that talk show. It was awful. And I really have to like try and separate that. Now, get in the ring, show me some stuff. We'll talk.
But you're not wrong. Like we were just talking about earlier of how this NXT still very much feels like it's almost a Vince, a Bruce and the boys, production.
Yeah, it's got that
anything under, the game regime.
Yeah, we've got cheap fucking softcore porn vibe.
Oh, I was about to say something, but I like on YouTube because now I've got Toxic Attraction coming out right now into their out of with their AC/DC ripoff song.
Sorry, I got caught up. What was happening?
Exactly.
Just fall all in the
DC
hips.
is $1 million.
All in the hips.
Right. Oh.
Oh God. No, we do not need Hogan for Raw 30. Who said
No,
that?
he's busy learning about Scientology with his new beau.
I thought Hogan was banned at this point because he's nuts.
Well, I think you'd agree with what Lauren was saying there of calling Tiffany Stratton Brooke Hogan.
Ah, that's a shout. Where the I didn't see that
Right
one.
there.
Nice. That's a good one, Lauren. Very, very good. That's how they should have billed her. The daddy turned out to be Hulk Hogan.
Well, I think that's kind of what they were doing, except the daddy, eventually at one point got asked to retire from the company and now just took it over on January 6th.
Oh, I would have died if it. Laurinaitis walks out. Daddy's here. Like,
Oh,
it's not allowed.
people power.
People power. I can't even go that like airy.
Yeah, it's hard. Like you have to like. How do you make your voice that raspy and not like smoke like a carton a day?
It's got to be frustrating to try and talk all day because it sounds like it's just an effort to get the air out.
Yeah. Do you need a drink? Do you need some water? But we have JC Jane and Gigi out in the ring right now talking about how they're both number one contenders.
So yeah, they're going in with that collective. We might have to figure some shit out, but you are definitely not winning.
Well, it's one of those. Has that ever worked ever?
No.
It's
never.
Always, well, how will they coexist? I think the only time that it kind of halfway started to work before shenanigans was KO and Sammy versus AJ.
Uh-huh.
Yep. I feel you.
The Rock versus Roman Reigns versus Sammy. That now we're just
versus Jacob Fatu. Now you just throw one too many pieces in there.
There's a lot of the pie. But I mean, I love the idea of like if Jacob Fatu came in with Tama Tonga or Hikuleo or both, and it was like the anti. Oh, you think you're the table? We're the table. Just because we
I am the table.
I am the fucking table.
Yeah, I am the table.
Well, imagine, you get the bloodline versus the other bloodline.
Well, it'd be interesting. It'd be the bloodline and then knockoff bloodline.
Samoan Civil War. Let's go.
You'd have the NWO Wolfpack of, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, Hikuleo.
Right.
Oh. And now comes out Lyra Valkyria. I hope I pronounced that right.
Close enough. Interesting.
Now, do you like that she's fitting so much bird shit into her promo? Pause on, I guess, all of that that I'd be soaring to victory. Like, why? Who talks like that? That unless you're trying to work your fucking bird gimmick into your promo. That's some WWE written promo crap.
Live and die by that. You gotta run your gimmick. You gotta run your gimmick.
Yeah,
you gotta work it. As long
you gotta live the gimmick, folks.
Listen, there's a man walking around wrestling dressed like a dinosaur, and we all buy into it. So I don't hear shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
We
like Jurassic Park. No one liked the movie. Well, who liked the movie The Crows? Because I feel like that's what this is.
I like The Crow.
Not The Crow. Crows.
Oh, The Crows.
Hitchcock shit. Or that was the birds. I'm retarded. Hold on.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay, I thought I was crazy for a second.
No, I misspoke.
Eating spicy nacho Doritos. Kind of happy that you're, not sitting next to me on the couch, bud.
Thank you for the inner monologue.
Dear journal.
Right. Deep thoughts with Jack Silverman.
I guess Valkyria didn't have a good plan other than.
Well, I mean, 2-on-1, always good odds, when you're the one. But Roxy comes out, so now it looks like we're going to set up for a tag match between these two, or these four, sorry.
I like Roxy, man.
Oh, well,
I want to know what her official height is. Is she 4'10"?
Is AJ Lee a height? Because I feel like she's like the newer AJ Lee.
She got very much got that AJ vibe.
Well,
I
she's
definitely
what was it? 2022. She started off the year as Ring of Honor World
yeah.
Champ and
Oh,
ended the year as NXT Women's Champ.
right.
That she had probably the best year for a women's wrestler, honestly.
Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe.
I don't think so.
Batman.
Right.
Riddle
Explain
me this.
yourself. Roman Reigns versus Hikuleo versus Jay White. Oh, now you're just too New Japan-y. Your Vince is gonna not allow that, pal.
Right. All right. So Ivy giving the team a pep talk. I can't believe the Diamond Mine is still a thing.
Yeah, that it's well. Where the hell's Roderick Strong?
Yo, dude,
What?
what the fuck? This is a crazy part about doing these shows live, man. I'm seeing like prayers, hashtag Jay Briscoe.
Um,
Oh,
I'm seeing John Alba tweet that. I don't want to say anything.
I don't want to say anything prematurely, but whoa.
Right. I
Like,
don't want to. Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful, where you at?
there you go. There's a Pink Ranger in the group. Wow, no way.
Wow.
What happened? Yeah, Sean Rossap, rest in peace.
You cool if I read Tony's tweet right now?
Yeah, sure. Shout. That is
Sadly, Jamin Pugh has passed away, known to fans as Jay Briscoe. He was a star in Ring of Honor for 20 years. From the first show until today, Jay and his brother Mark dominated Ring of Honor, reigning as champions to this day. We'll do whatever we can to support his family. Rest in peace, Jamin. Oh, if you didn't know we were live, folks, you do now.
oh wow.
And how am I supposed to talk about NXT right now?
I don't
Anyone up for putting on Briscoes versus
yeah,
FTR?
like is that too premature? Like
I'd rather watch that if this is what actually is happening right now in 2023. Goddamn wrestling year, slow the fuck down already. Just
what
I want off this ride.
y'all think I got gray in my beard to start 2023? Jesus Christ.
Why? Yeah, like I said, do we want to just I know I have it on like Fight and everything. If we can we'll just live watch and react and we'll just find a way to throw out there of we watch some Briscoes matches or something right now versus giving a rat's ass about anything on NXT.
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. I don't even. It's not very often. There's very few times on this channel I've been at a loss for words. I was also live with when Scott Hall passed, or when the news came out that he was on the verge of passing. Um, it's just so crazy when you're live doing it because, and I know it sounds crazy. People tuning in, look at these marks, getting upset. No, I mean it's a human being. We were fans. We watched this
Right.
guy look. Tony said it. 20 years, 20 years, and I can promise you, 15 of the years, I was picking that guy up in different places and tuning in to see him and his brother do what they did and their runs with Ring of Honor and going into the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. We were looking for more FTR versus the Briscoes. They were legitimately one of the most talented teams in all of wrestling. And you had just brought them up. What,
Well,
10
I'm
minutes ago?
absolutely of the Briscoes were always that if you're a wrestling fan that's in the know and you watch more than just what was just only WWE and Impact at that time, you knew about the Briscoes, you knew how good of a tag team they were. And they were finally, I feel like, starting to get that recognition from a main audience with them being on the Ring of Honor shows, um, with them being mentioned on AEW, with them now really starting to get this kind of prominent light, I feel, and to have this happen, just what the fuck?
So yeah, I think the obvious sentiments going out to the rest of his family. Um,
Absolutely.
that is insane, just out of left field. And I don't know if any of the
I
fact checkers or anybody else out there. Yeah,
I
yeah,
literally saw like and liked their, and I hate this, sounds so fucking stupid to say this, but it's just popping into my brain. Because trying to comprehend. But I literally just saw them, like Jay put out a post on Instagram and everything like that and everything earlier today, and then now where you hear this, like, what the fuck?
Nick, I'm flabbergasted. Honestly, I have no. Again, it's not like
I
it's
just
so
remember
out of left
being here
field.
live of how many times, like especially the two of us here and everything, and with everybody that's probably tuned in right now in the chat, of watching that whole trilogy between them and FTR and everything this year, and just
Yeah.
they were the matches of the year. I think that's what we even our
Mhm.
award show, if that counts for anything. I think most places were calling that whole trilogy the match, the matches, the moments, the holy fuck of the year. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, undeniable talent. And I mean, if they were, wait, what is this? Oh, so we're getting like a Twitch girls now on
yeah, she's from NXT UK
uh
initially. How
okay.
meta can we get? We're streamers watching. We're now going to be watching a wrestling streaming character.
But yeah, I mean, the Briscoes are undeniably talented. Like, yeah, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. It's true. Lauren confirms. Yeah. No, once I saw a couple people throw it up, and you never want to presume he died in
Yeah, you
a
never
car
want to fall
accident.
into the false rumor, and especially with something like that, you don't want to mess around with something
Richard.
like that.
No, that's
But if TK is still not out there, I trust Sean Ross Sapp. All of that. If you're now seeing a lot of
oh no, the outpouring was
everybody's, it's just nothing but outpour.
so some I see the comment there about it being a car accident. It's
Oh, I don't. Oh,
yeah, fuck.
Anthony, that's not a bad show. Interesting. I mean, I like that, but interesting. But I don't. How do you
Yeah.
2023 do something good in professional wrestling, please? You've brought us back, Vince. Now you're taking away Jay Briscoe. Can you do something good with your fucking existence, please?
Right, help us out here.
Right. Well, I mean, I feel like we've kind of been speechless through a good portion of this, but I'm going to say, I guess, a moment of
Yeah, go
silence
ahead.
for um, the Briscoes and everything, or at least Jay
Mhm.
and his family.
And you know what? I might get a little soapboxy here, Nick, and it's just kind of the heat of the moment and kind of being caught up live and
You're
reading this.
fine, but you're talking through my moment of silence real quick.
Oh, sorry. I was
No, you're good. I
let's do
think
it
we had
again.
a moment there. You're good. Go ahead. Go speak. Talk that talk.
That's how out of it I am at the moment. But
As we do have Kaylee Ray, um, Alba Fire, and Sol Ruka in the ring right now for anyone who still gives a shit about NXT. Um,
yeah.
but get so boxy. Preach.
Well, here's the thing. Like you brought it up earlier about being unable to get a spot on one of the the big shows because of past indiscretions. You made the comparable to Jacob Fatu.
Mhm.
Oh, we'll check it out. Thank you, Pink Ranger. 10 bell salute. Yeah, absolutely. I think we get that tomorrow night for sure, without a doubt. Like, wow.
Uh, right.
But back to my point though. this is where you had two extremely talented guys. And when I looked up Jay Briscoe, the first thing that came up was one of the articles about him apologizing um, for a multiple time. And I think it's a good lesson in this life. People make mistakes. People say stupid shit. At times in history, certain things were acceptable to say and not say, and we can't look backwards and judge everybody by today's standard. We got to look forward, and we got to find a way to move forward positively. It's kind of what we were talking about yesterday, is being able to forgive. Forgiveness is one of the most loving things you could do to anybody out there. And a lot of times we don't forgive people and then we lose them forever. And this is a good example of this guy deserved a better shout. This guy deserved a better opportunity. And yeah, he said some shit he shouldn't have. But I'm pretty sure everyone that tunes into these streams, including you and I, at some point have either done or said some shit that we wish we didn't do, but we've grown past it. And um, like I said, I'm nothing but a huge fan. I feel like I've been watching the Briscoes forever. And like Tony pointed out, 2 decades of wrestling. And, it's more than just about being a wrestler. He was a family guy. They had they lived their gimmick. They were who they
Oh,
were.
absolutely. That's the thing.
They
That's why
were
probably for
fathers,
most people it's hard to find the
our
Briscoe brothers
fathers.
or anything on social because half their shit's about just like their little landscaping business and all of that. And they actually have a fucking farm and all of that. Like most of their pictures are just them like at their like kids, sporting events and stuff like that. They're not big on, let me fucking put out 80 highlights about my shit in the ring and everything like that. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Not at all. Not at all. And people jump fast. The Wikipedia just said edited 1 minute ago, and it does. January 17th, 2023, 38 years old. And for guys in that age bracket, it's
Right.
always
That's
tough when
scary.
you read that,
As
right?
Sol Ruka picks up the win, but yes, I am seeing that allegedly right now it's a potential fatal
Car
car
wreck.
accident, which again, like what you were saying, that's the thing is, I guess I know we come on here and at times we bitch and people say, oh, you're big fans of WWE, you just hate on AW or vice versa, whatever. But at the end of the day, we're all pro wrestling fans and everything. And maybe sometimes we just need to realize that you blink and somebody could be fucking gone. Like that's the thing. This wasn't like oh well he'd been really ill or anything like it's literally just could happen to anybody.
Yeah. Quick side note. I know we're not really paying attention. Sol Ruka's got a lot of praise.
Well, Julie, who we just interviewed, was a big fan of Sol Ruka, like she said, as
Did she
we've
just
got
beat Alba Fire clean?
yes, as Isla Dawn's looking on and laughing from the weird kind of
Okay.
podium spot that they have there.
Hello, Isla. Isla. Nonetheless, back to the point, dude. No, I mean,
Stupid rope spot with Grayson Waller, but
yeah, I mean, dude, it's a sad day, regardless. And like I said, I mean, yeah, I mean, even when you Google him, like it comes up about other stuff, and this guy had a whole life outside of a few things that he said that were stupid. And sometimes people forget, we're products of our environment, and we need to learn and grow too, right? So, but back to the positives of everything. I mean, like I said, I mean, when you're dealing with a father, you're dealing with a husband, you're dealing with a son, like it's just so sad. And again, in our age bracket, dude, it's crazy to see.
oh yeah, literally man's couple years older than me, I guess, if you wanted to know. But so that's what makes it like that really beyond and just everything like you said of beyond just yeah he was a super talented performer and everything but he still had such a life beyond that and to be like you were saying in our age bracket and just to see that now finally because of just some stupid shit that somebody said at some point and I understand if what he said still offends you I guess I apologize I guess somehow for the man or whatever but get off that fucking high horse so
Yeah,
he should have gotten the praise that he's getting now in this outpour when he was here.
true. Too young, definitely too young, man.
Right.
You know, and I don't mean this disparagingly, and kudos to him, but I mean, when you lose certain guys, you're just like, I mean, Ric Flair's still walking around, and we lose Jay Briscoe. Like, it's crazy how life works out.
I was trying to think of a witty comeback, but it didn't
Just
feel
lack
right
the
in the
wit.
moment.
Just
So
I
that's
get
why I
it.
was like, nope.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
in Florida, in Delaware, everywhere.
Right. No, they have a huge following, and I mean they earned it. They poured blood, sweat, and tears, and I would say some of the best moments on this channel have involved the Briscoes, and not just with FTR. I mean, they had a hell of a match with Main Event, and everyone who doesn't follow is gonna be like, "Who? Yeah, they made them look good. It was great." Turned out, and we were looking forward to Supercard of Honor because we assumed they would be on it. Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Well, and I was still waiting for the potential to just have them on regular AEW television and everything. If the execs at Warner could have pulled their heads out of their asses, or if we could have still gotten that whole, and I know what we say about the Young Bucks and everything, but we still could have gotten that whole triple threat that I think everybody fantasy booked from about 2010 to
Mhm.
2020 of FTR versus the Briscoes versus the Young Bucks.
Oh, could you imagine?
Right. That could have still happened.
Yeah, no, conceivably, and and it would have been a barn burner. Like, man, it was. Who did they fight in that in the scaffolding fucking match they had? And
Oh,
who was that when we were live?
now I'm going to have to look that up real quick.
Right, but I mean that was an insane match. Was it Nick Gage? It might have been.
Or was it maybe Alex Cologne and
Oh,
Murdoch?
maybe.
I'll
But like
go
even
look.
even here, I'm like scrolling through some of our some of our visuals from the past, right? And like within a second, and I mean it just goes to show my bad, 1 second.
There you go.
It just goes to show how prominent the Briscoes were. And I know the I guess call 'em mainstream fans, or the pure WWE fans, or the people that don't kind of branch out. Um, this might not register the same way. And I mean, if you were paying attention to the circuit and where everybody was going, I mean, we got a lot of big matches and like
It
within
was, sorry, because I just pulled it up. It was the Briscoes versus Mance Warner and Matthew Justice. So part of Six Gear Crew.
there you go. So like I mean, just quickly, like right there. Oh, that's the wrong one. One
Fair
second.
enough.
But I mean, this isn't even one of the shows that top of mind, but this was another, amazing match, right? Like we had Aussie Open, House of Glory Wrestling up against the Briscoes. And
Right.
I mean, dude, it took me 2 seconds. If I scroll through the folder, I mean, we got them in GCW, we got them in Ring of Honor. We have shit all over the place.
Oh, well, like we've talked about of how much they're they've as much as FTR's the greatest tag team, as much as the Usos are, the Briscoes are, I guess, the 1C when it comes to that whole conversation of they're very much in that you think tag team wrestling and you think good tag team wrestling, you think the Briscoes.
Yeah,
And even Jay had his whole solo run. I think Jay had at least
yeah,
maybe a run or so as Ring of Honor World Champ, at least.
absolutely. And one of my favorite of recent memory was, you know, them boys stopped getting along, and they had this long rivalry, and it was heated and it was vicious, and they weren't pulling any punches, and it eventually leads to a brawl at the farm. Here's another example, right?
Right.
And basically, it all comes to the conclusion. When Papa Briscoe says, "Y'all done? Now get back to business," and that's what they did. They went back to business, and started picking up titles again. I mean, crazy man. Like it's just, yeah. I mean, Jay was out. Yeah. I'm struggling to find all the words, but again, more
Yeah,
than just a wrestler.
absolutely.
That's it, man. That's it. Listen, It's true.
Between being live for the Damar Hamlin thing, and especially as a Bills fan, and now being as a Briscoes fan of being live for this, absolutely. Even if there's one thing, and I guess Damar Hamlin's even said it, I've seen plenty of people say it and everything. Just tell someone you love them today, because you don't know when you're going to get the chance to do it again.
Yeah, man. No, do it. For those who haven't been around from the beginning of this channel, I legitimately got my ass pulled into an industrial machine. Like I was crushed and pinched between a half-inch gap, and literally was saying the goodbyes in my head when they hit the e-stop to pry my arms out, and literally pry my arms out between two 600-pound rollers. And I crushed my arms. I destroyed my arms, but I was that close, like it was fucking James Bond being killed by a villain, to saying goodbye on a random Monday. I don't know what I did the day before. So yeah, make them count, folks. Make them count. It makes you truly appreciate that, because that took a couple years of rehab, and it was obviously a traumatic moment. But you don't know if the guy doesn't get to the button as quick as he did. Maybe I'm not sitting here. Maybe we're not having this conversation.
You even said on a random Monday, and now on a random Tuesday, Jay Briscoe, one of the best professional wrestlers in the world, is no longer with us.
Yeah. Look, Richard said the same thing. Tell your people you love them. Yeah, I mean, yes, definitely. Mick's still here. That's good. It was a car accident. Yeah, I'm trying to get more information, see if there's any other details.
Yeah, it's one of those again, like with even when we initially were hearing about it, if you don't want to speculate and have it be inaccurate, I don't want to throw out anything with such a sensitive topic.
No, absolutely not. And I apologize, folks, if you did tune in for our coverage of NXT. Yeah, we've been a little derailed here, and I just don't feel like talking about.
Oh, I was going to say, for anyone who's watching NXT right now, we're still getting we had a special interview, and now we're getting a video package of Grayson Waller. So, whoop-de-doo, Basil.
Like, man. But that being said, yeah, the show will go on. There is going to be, like, I expect every fucking member of that locker room to be in the ring, on the stage, on the aisleway, and I expect. And Tony, from day one, has done nothing but overachieve and do really well in these moments where he's gone out of his way to honor people in a way that we've never seen before in wrestling. Brody Lee's the perfect example. Kudos to that man. So I'm sure he's upset, and I'm sure he's going to handle this in kind.
Well, and I think very much, I know that they've stepped away, as I'm getting an ad for Braun Breaker versus Grayson Waller in a steel cage match at Vengeance Day for the NXT title. And I'm now got Gallus backstage. But FTR, Cash, and Dax need to be in that ring and need to be the ones that I guess lead whatever fucking ceremony, the 10 bell salute, whatever they do, they need to be involved. Like, they need to be there.
Yeah, you say what you want, and I mean, technically the issue was with Jay as it stood. So, everything goes by the wayside. I don't care what anyone said, 10 years ago in a moment like this. Everyone can go back to disliking the choices or the sentiment tomorrow, but it's just irrelevant now.
Right. Well, now, and does with how much they were more of a private kind of family and to an extent, and all of that, of how they weren't, just throwing a bunch of highlight videos, and they were literally, like you said, they lived their goddamn gimmick. They were them boys and all of that. Would the Briscoe family want something like that? You muted.
I hadn't said anything yet.
Oh. I saw your mouth move.
I said and then I was going for the button. But yeah, I mean, I think so. I think in this case, again, I can't speak for them. They might want to be very private about it. Brody Lee was very private about it. Obviously, it just came out of left field. I remember the day when I found out, and I was like, wait, what? He was fine. I mean, you had people that were covering wrestling questioning where he was and being like, "What'd they do? They're not using him properly." And then you find out what truly happened. And I mean, it was funny because we were going to talk about Cody Rhodes earlier, and I was going to kind of give the IWC out there a little bit of a heart to heart about everyone needs to just chill the fuck out and calm down. And it doesn't matter what these wrestling companies do. Nobody likes it. It doesn't matter. You surprise us with Cody. People say, "Oh, well, it would have been better if we knew he was coming." Then
Right.
you don't surprise us with Cody, and everyone's like, "This fucking stupid." I understand why they did it. And again, I understand that the possibility of, all right, you can't do too much in the one event. So I understand there's a method to the madness, but sometimes as a collective, we all need to take a breath and let things play out before we start shitting on all the company.
Oh, absolutely.
Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. It's crazy. And like I said, it only took me a couple minutes to flip through, and there's all these overlays. And I mean, if they were on the card because of who they were, we use them in the visual, right? Like there they are. And we knew they were going to be a banger, and we knew that if people happened to stumble on our channel and you caught a glimpse of the Briscoes, you would stay. You want to see what they were doing. You might not have ever watched House of Glory or any of the other shows they were on, but oh, wait a minute, the Briscoes are fighting. Who are they fighting?
Right.
Oh, right.
You may have not tuned in, like you said, of House of Glory or GCW or what have you, but because, oh, well, they're talking about the Briscoes and all that, so it's got to be a banger of a match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, man. And again, I mean, there's bigger things at play here. I mean, his kids, your heart goes out to his kids, thoughts and prayers. I mean, we saw it with -1, right? Like, I mean, shit.
Oh, absolutely. That's, I feel like that's what we'll really get. And again, I know it's, I always hate kind of feeling this way at times when stuff like this happens, but I wish that like you were saying a bit with letting go of stuff. But if this man got the respect and the outpour and the admiration, everything that he was getting while he was here versus now that he's passed, it would have been a game changer.
Yeah. And that's where I said, I mean, really trying to find an ability to forgive a fucking tweet or an old comment and just letting people do their thing. We don't have to take the shine off everything. It's kind of a sad state of being where we find it necessary to take the shine off our own polish. Just enjoy it nice and shiny.
Absolutely.
Oh, favorite Jay Briscoe match. Wow, you're making me tap way back. I will still. I think I touched on it earlier. I really did love the feud he had with his brother, and how it came down to, like, they did the rumble on the farm, and Papa finally put an end to it. But man, they had outstanding matches with the Bucks. They had outstanding matches with what is it?
Oh, I was gonna say they had the whole
USC,
series with
USC.
FTR.
Well, I mean, FTR obviously. I mean, they set the standard for tag wrestling over the last couple of years, Nick.
Well, you even had them at one point in Ring of Honor if you had them versus the Dudley Boys. Trust me, I still remember seeing the Briscoe Boys versus the Dudley Boys with fucking
Yeah.
lightsabers and everything else used.
Oh man. And that's the thing. Like, they had some, again, really good matches. They didn't shy away from anything, and again, they were who they were. Oh, by the way, Tyler Bate is on the screen. If
Yeah,
anybody,
there was the definition of don't back down of literally will take on any goddamn challenge.
yeah, yeah, really. Best tag team right now. Listen, I had them higher ranked than FTR because I felt FTR's booking hindered them this year. I did, and
Guys,
last
we
year
even just sat there and watched them versus the main event on House of Glory. I
was
just
it
remember that.
3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, something like that. Honestly, Scott, thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. It feels even a little halfway weird at this point, but I met Jana's brother on the first Jericho cruise. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was partial to Jay if we're talking out of the two Briscoe brothers, but that's the thing is he
Yeah.
had his whole singles run. He had, you know, not
And,
only was he a great tag team wrestler, but you were talking about even the feud that he had against his brother.
yeah, I mean, he was super talented, and he said he had the title run, and he was kind of the one that stood out between the two. There's always that slight lean for one or the other.
Right. Kind of always happens in any tag team. Speaking
Right.
of tag teams, I do have Briggs and Jensen, Brooks and Dunn out in the ring right now as Gallus is coming out. So we do have that match going on if anyone's still watching or paying attention to NXT. But yeah.
That's crazy, dude. I'm just trying to see if there's any update. I mean, I feel kind of bad looking for more details, but I like to pass it along. Yeah,
Right.
Polo, agree. Oh, there you go.
I
Nice
mean,
one.
that's a hell of a place to meet them.
Yeah. And I mean, what does this mean for his brother moving forward in their career? Like, where do they go with this?
Does Mark still wrestle?
Yeah, what do we do with Mark as far as is he? Oh shit, I'm not doing this. I'm out. Does he come back?
If
And I mean, that's the furthest
where
thing
am I
from any
feeling with
thought.
that?
Yeah,
Right.
but it is going to be a question that gets asked.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just Briscoes versus Kevin Steen and El Generico had it on DVD,
Yeah,
Wrestling Ring of Honor DVD. That goes back to like what even we mentioned when I read the TK tweet of
yeah,
these guys were doing it for 20 years.
yeah.
This isn't just, oh, these are some indie darlings that caught fire. No, these guys
Mhm.
have been one of, if not the best tag team in pro wrestling for a long ass fucking time.
Right. I mean, and again, they've gone through. I mean, that's where someone, when you ask, what is your favorite, match? Every time somebody go, what about this one? Oh shit, yeah. They had some really good matches against, bits and pieces of the Bullet Club at times. They were in there with guys like O'Reilly and Fish, like
The
so
Bucks.
many, the Bucks. I mean, so many names that we've come to see on big programming. They were like, the gateway. Get through the Briscoes, you might get called up.
Yeah, show us that you can hang with them. And just I
Mhm.
guess for the sake of humor here. Oh,
Oh, we
stop.
clicked in with
KJ, pinch me, please.
right.
Accusations.
Accusations.
But so, I mean, do we really want to? Well, so we do have Gallus versus Brooks and Dunn right now going on. So give us your predictions for that, folks. I guess to try and make that. Oh, that was sloppy as shit from Jensen there. He tried to go for the leapfrog and completely fucking caught his ass end to try and, I guess, make it halfway to a positive note, I guess, maybe. You good, my guy? You alive?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Just
You got really quiet. I was like, okay, you good? Hello, Earth to KJ.
sorry. Multiple things on
Can
my
anyone hear
mind.
me? Was I talking to
I,
no one?
I'm Googling. I'm ignoring NXT. I'm thinking about
I'm
what
trying.
we're.
I'm honestly, I'm almost halfway want to pay attention to NXT. If I can't watch Briscoe matches right now, I almost halfway want to at least look at NXT. Of like, it makes me not
Yeah,
think about the sad.
yeah. Fair enough. You're not in that. You're not wrong at all. But with that being said, I have to step away for a
No, you're
moment.
good.
I was just looking for this, and I'll be right.
Absolutely, folks. You do have me. So I guess for right now, over the time being, especially because I am solo dolo right now, I guess I will try and we can obviously still talk about everything going on with Jay because I know Damien said it and I don't want to discredit it, but I don't want to get into that whole debate. But Damien saying that this is the saddest day in pro wrestling, I don't want to fully say that, but if that's the way you feel, we absolutely can talk about it and everything. As I just had Gallus back suplexed onto the exposed concrete, but so I do also kind of want to still maybe at least if we can, let's find the good in pro wrestling right now in 2023. What's going on good as we're in a commercial? And I was going to say, we'll try and focus on NXT of trying to not think about the sad, but when I speak about good in NXT right now, or good in professional wrestling right now, I don't know if NXT jumps to my mind, but so while we're in commercial break, I guess I will remind everybody we are the Wrasslin 4 Live Network. And if you couldn't tell, we were live before, we are live now. And as KJ was even saying, we do this for all of the shows, and this even feels weird bringing this up right now, but we've obviously covered Briscoe is on damn near every promotion. But let's see what y'all got going on. For me, the Briscoe, Anthony, they were around before Ring of Honor was even around. Absolutely. Trust me, they them boys. You don't just kind of wake up and decide you them boys. Oh, that's what Damien was saying that. CM Punk coming to AEW. Steve, Chris Jericho has made it very clear that he will not allow CM Punk to show back up in AEW at all. Jonathan Gallus, they never needed WWE. WWE needed them. That's not a bad show, honestly, when it comes to the Briscoes. But I do still wish that they would have gotten at least some more of that mainstream recognition outside of just kind of really pretty much, I almost hate to say it, but the pandemic era. But they were a fantastic. They were one of the best in the world doing it even before that. If they would have been in a company like WWE at that time, granted, obviously with who we've seen at the helm, they would have had to change it up. But if Hunter was there and had brought them in, and if they got to stay as the Briscoes, tell me you get fucking the Briscoes and FTR or the Revival in WWE and shit, you bring in the Bucks because they were at times talking with WWE, and tell me you that is an Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and Jeff Hardy again in the tag team division, especially when you've got the New Day and the Usos and all of that. Yes, Briscoes versus Dudley's at Hammerstein. Yes, I remember watching that review. I think I even saved on my phone there. Might still have it of when, like I said, when the Briscoes were going after the Dudley Boys with lightsabers. We had a Jedi versus Sith standoff. But we are back from commercial right now as we've got Brooks and Jensen and Gallus in the ring right now. So if you haven't given me your prediction, give me a prediction. I guess I'm still, like I said, just trying to distract myself from the sad news with Jay Briscoe. And I guess what better fitting way than to watch, and I don't want to say like Jay was just specifically a tag team wrestler, but what better fitting way to be watching a tag team match right now than trying to talk and decompress and, talk through all of this, information going on right now. The fans win. Fair enough, Scott. Fair enough. Lawrence and Mark taking time off. I wouldn't doubt that at all. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Mark never wrestles again, and I can't say I blame the man at all. I know for me it would be, I can't even try and imagine speaking to doing something like that. I love tag team wrestling. Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing is what we had with, as much as I bagged on them, of teams like the Bucks, or even with the Usos, with the New Day, with FTR, with the Briscoes. That's where we had across, I guess, multiple promotions is when we had our resurgence like we had during the Attitude Era of all this great tag team wrestling. I remember when tag team matches main evented shows. The first TLC wouldn't exist if it wasn't for tag team wrestling, to be honest. The pay-per-view or the stipulation. So I think 100% that we've hopefully not seen the twilight of our generations or this generation's, great tag team wrestling going on. I always thought they were Rhea. I'm hoping you meant that they thought that you thought they were real versus Rhea. Thoughts on my last comment about the Briscoes match highlights. Anthony, my favorite Briscoes match was them against the stable with CM Punk. I can't remember the name of the group with Punk and Daniels. Well then, fair enough, Anthony. Right now, Briggs and Jensen in control as Gallus just getting dumped onto the outside. And so what do you guys think about what's up with homie just sitting? Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by a fan now of homie is just sitting in the aisleway. Like, did this man just sneak in? He very much, there's no one sitting in front or behind him. So he's just sitting in the fucking walkway. Backdrop onto Jensen again onto the exposed concrete. So they do have a bit of the ring padding on the outside torn up. Oh! Flying clothesline. Briggs with a splash now. But so let's try and think of what's been good so far in 2023 when it comes to pro wrestling. Because so far lately, it's been nothing but not so great news, I feel, with between Vince coming back, Stephanie stepping down, of just, as Fallon calls for medical assistance for Jensen, as now we had to roll up in a double clothesline spot. Again, Lauren, I get it. I'm just trying. Honestly, right now at this point, that's why I'm kind of just talking. And now we're getting the cat fight over medical assistance, seriously, between Kiana James and Fallon Henley. But at this point, I'm kind of just talking and kind of just halfway trying to pay attention to NXT to kind of not focus on it too much here because I am, live with the camera and everything. But right now it's Riggs just throwing shots because at this point they're pretty much saying it's a 2-on-1 match. You think Booker and Vic will announce anything live on TV? I kind of doubt that. Oh, 3 count as Gallus picks up the win. I kind of doubt that just because I think it's still so fresh and everything, and obviously because of how even we were initially skeptical about it, but also, like someone mentioned, they don't have an affiliation to WWE. Tony Khan's more, I think, better apt to do something like that than anything with WWE mentioning it right now. And I almost feel like it may come off in the wrong way if they were to mention something like that. And Vince McMahon's at the helm, so I don't know why they'd really want to, under the Vince regime, how you could see them mentioning other companies again. So Gallus picks up the win as I've got Chase U firing up backstage. Damien saying, where do you see Pat McAfee fitting on commentary? NXT, SmackDown, or Raw? Honestly, I think on Raw. Just that's why we even, advertise ourselves as, the alternative commentary when it comes to pro wrestling, because of people like Kevin Patrick and Excalibur and all of that. Of I can do your job better than you, I feel, or at least more entertaining, I feel. But so I think 100% you give me Pat McAfee and Corey Graves, if it might make Raw a little bit more bearable, especially with it being 3 hours. I'd tune in to listen to Pat for 3 hours. I already do, I feel like, with his podcast. So now we're getting a confrontation between Duke Hudson and Andre Chase about backstage conversation. And why does this woman look so panicked of like she literally just needs to let out all of the panic or something here? Anthony, as I'm back in commercial right now, folks, for anyone that's still following along with NXT. Nick, I understand he is a heel, but you find it kind of hilarious that Grayson is blaming the ring crew for his loss when it takes longer to reinstall the ring ropes correctly than 2 minutes. Well, then who else would he blame? I mean, is he going to blame himself for it? Is he going to blame the commentary team? I think of when it's a ring issue of who else is he going to blame besides the ring crew? They would have been pushed like the Dudleys, absolutely. If we, like I said, that would have been the 2.0 of Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys, and Hardy Boys. And absolutely, I could see the Briscoes getting pushed like the Dudleys. They were basically, I hate to do comparisons, and especially at a time like this, but I'm really, well, a little bit. I kind of just talking to talk and kind of grasping to find things, but that they really were kind of the modern era Dudley Boys of across multiple promotions. Of there's still the famous picture of you have the Dudley Boys holding, I think it's 4 or 5 different companies' tag titles at the same time. I feel like the Briscoes could have very easily done that, if not already did do that, to where they'd show up in GCW, House of Glory, Ring of Honor, Wrestling Revolver. I feel at one point. I almost wouldn't be surprised if they showed up in NWA as well, but any promotion you could really think of. So they were the newer generation's Dudley Boys. They were the tag team that you always heard about. You may have not always seen on, your Monday Night Raws and your SmackDowns until they signed with them, but that you just knew was a legit badass and was fucking good at what they did. Honestly, for me, this Briscoes are this generation's Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Fair enough, Anthony. Now, I hope I'm not thinking of the same team, but when you say that, I think of Shelton Benjamin and Brock Lesnar, which I hope that's not the comparison you're trying to make. Small Mark saying, honestly, if Pat McAfee do pay-per-views only, that honestly wouldn't be a bad shout, Small Mark. If you had go back to Cole and McAfee or do a 3-man with Cole, McAfee, and Corey Graves on pay-per-views, absolutely. I think that wouldn't be a bad show. Honestly, I think wherever Pat's doing commentary, people are going to tune in. The Briscoes did win the NWA Tag Team Championships. Fair enough. Thank you for all the fact checkers out there. Because again, it's being live and then finding out news like that is kind of hard. Of what do you really talk about outside of just, all right, we're all kind of sad right now. So hopefully I'm at least making it at least somewhat bearable here. I know Lauren was saying she was numb and all of that and dealing with this. Damien said it was the saddest day in professional wrestling history, but we can grieve together, folks, because honestly, like I said, I'm paying attention to NXT to keep myself distracted from it, to have Jay pass away just on a random Tuesday of all times, from allegedly a car accident that literally could have that could happen to anybody. That could be me coming home from work and then, yeah. So now we've got Brooks and Dunn again backstage as Jensen's getting looked at. And so again, this is, I guess, back what KJ had talked about before of this soap opera bar rescue fucking Yellowstone drama bullshit that they try and do with NXT makes half of, every match just seem, you're already kind of tuned out on it because all the little stupid backstage segments. Like we've got Val and Henry still upset at Kiana James because she came out to show support. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. But shout out to Jensen's Kentucky waterfall there with the mullet. Thank you, my dude. They won the Crockett Cup. Listen, I'm live. Okay. So forgive me for not being, 100% factual all the time here. I was trying to thank you, fact checkers. I'll put it that way. Thank you. Bobby, back. What did I miss so far? Oh, Bobby, this is why you go and rewind, because to try and explain to you what you've missed so far, I don't even want to attempt to. But we've got Thea Hale versus Chiquita. I don't know. I missed her name.
I have no idea.
Right. So
Oh,
Thea Hale versus Local Enhancement. Maybe. If anyone can fact check me on that one and help me out, help a brother out here. But I'm
oh, that's what's her face's daughter, Santino's daughter.
Oh,
The new GM
director
of Impact.
authority there on Impact now. Is that what his title is? He's director of something. He's basically Scott D'Amore, while Scott D'Amore is years from getting powerbombed.
He came up with a cute name for it.
Yeah, we watched Hard to Kill. I'm terrible that I'm forgetting this right now. But I popped for Santino showing up.
Yeah, I mean, I got a little bit of love for Santino, just in the sense that he's a good old Toronto boy. So
right. Well, no, he's the Milan Miracle. The fuck is you talking about? But no, I will. And Small Mark, I think this is probably best comment of the night. Instead of being sad, focus on the positive things he did for wrestling and how he entertains you. Remember the good times. Absolutely. Fucking chin chin.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers to that. And again, it's easy to get caught up in the sadness of the moment, but at the end of the day, guys, I mean, we were blessed to watch, him do his art, his craft for quite a while, and him and his brother, rarely disappointed. And yeah, I mean, it's just kind of reflective. I mentioned the Crockett Cup not because you didn't know it live, so, yeah, but to the comment that they held the titles, but they had an amazing Crockett Cup last year, which we covered live, and they beat Les Resistants.
La Resistance live on.
So I mean, in a hell of a match, and the tournament itself, they were the outright favorites, and then they didn't disappoint, and it was a huge win for them. And yeah, I mean, it's easy for us as fans to say, yeah, it's sad, and we'll miss watching them, and we'll miss what we think they had in store for us. However, when you boil it down, I mean, there's a lot bigger things at play here. You're gonna have children and family members, and everybody close are going to be really hurting tonight. So, thoughts and prayers with everyone out there, and our biggest, the biggest virtual hug we can give to anybody
all
bad and blue
of
right
the
now.
P's and P's, all of the 10 bell salute, the moment in silence, all of that. Even the Usos are tweeting out, showing out respect and everything, because I know somebody asked if Booker or Vic would mention it on NXT, and I don't think they will. I think the wrestlers themselves might more do it.
Yeah, no, I think there's been a huge outpouring. I've seen a lot of pictures when I stepped away for a couple minutes there. A lot of pictures circling, Twitter, Instagram, of times where people were with Jay, and Mark, and again, there's going to be. They were well loved. Well, Jay was well loved. Sorry, I don't mean to speak both of them in the past tense. But we get a win on NXT, by the way. But yeah, they were both highly regarded. So, I mean, yeah, this is going to send shockwaves.
Oh, absolutely. And so Thea picks up the win as your girl. Elektra Lopez comes out. And did you see my homie real quick there that I saw? Homie that's in the crowd that's sitting in the fucking walkway because But anyway, so I've got.
There's a dude in the walkway?
Just chilling, like, homie, find your seat. Just,
yeah,
I can see one man that sticks out like a sore thumb, but I've got Carmelo and Trick coming out right now, getting confronted in the parking lot by Apollo. But I don't think that was Thea's NXT debut. She's at least been on Level Up, and it might have been her.
Yeah, no,
debut.
Mm-hmm.
But so small mark with Raw Triple X coming up, which by the way, don't try and Google Raw Triple X and on any sort of work computer or anything. You may not be showing up to work on Wednesday. Coming up, what was the funniest segment you remember? Rock, This Is Your Life. See, and initially with Rock, This Is Your Life, I didn't think it was initially as funny as everyone's made it out to be. Like almost now until like watching it back and seeing it mentioned so much. Um, Austin with the bedpan to Vince's head. Vince peeing himself, being held with the you know shoot gun or the kayfabe gun, or Kurt Angle with the milk truck.
That was a good
But
one.
no, the what initiated the milk truck is to me my favorite moment of Austin coming out with the beer truck and just the corporation takes a beer bath. Granted, you know, Dr. Sacco and Vince with the bedpan and everything does take a solid run there, because that sound you cannot recreate of when Vince just gets clocked with a fucking bedpan stiffer than a fucking doorknob.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. There was a lot of dumb shit. The X was hilarious. One of my favorite things as far as comedy goes ever was the FCC speech.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, oh my god. But even Angle and Austin together was hilarious. Angle with his little hat and the ukulele.
So Jason says NXT just announced the passing of Jay Briscoe. Holy shit. So
I missed
I
it.
see. Well, we do kind of talk for a living a little bit, but
Yeah.
so Dale was saying, just heard that, Jason. So even Steve confirming. So I guess we do have a couple of people confirming that they did announce the passing of Jay Briscoe on NXT. So I'm very surprised that happened here. I didn't think that just because of their not having a full tie to WWE and because of Vince and his craziness that they may have not done that, but good
No,
on WWE.
you have to. You have to. I think if the announcers knew about it, you have to say something, right?
Right. Well, speaking of saying something, I'm going to take a moment to not say something here and take a little pause for the cause here.
Fair enough, sir. I will take it from here, folks. Nick is going to take a pause, as he said. We are in a commercial break right now. I know we haven't talked a lot about NXT tonight. I know we haven't got our usual play by play and rhetoric about what's going on, and we will get to more of that. It's an interesting situation when you're doing live shows like this, and as I mentioned earlier, it happened when I was watching. We were watching live, and Scott Hall passed away. Right, like you know, we get into a tricky spot because we want to pay respects and be respectful, to someone like Jay or anyone else that this happens to. At the same time, it's a slippery slope. Where do we go with it? So, but neither here nor there. Our feelings are not relevant at all at this time. So, but yeah, on with the show. My favorite moment on Raw is when Austin hit Vince in the head with the bedpan. A lot of people like that. I like the whole. Even Mick Foley with the Socko and showing up at the hospital tied into all that was hilarious. Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, if you think of all the people that the WWE employ that have some type of connection or past with the Briscoes, it's good form for them to acknowledge it. Jimmy Crackhorn and Austin don't care. Yeah, yeah. There you go, Bobby sentiment. I agree. Now I'm getting a spot for Raw XXX, which will be on Monday. It is also the go home show for Royal Rumble. I will take this time to remind everybody we are here all week long. We're live all the time. You want live reaction, live response to anything going on in the wrestling world. We are generally here for it. And tonight was no exception. And with all that being said, We will be back tomorrow for Dynamite. Oh, that's tough. No. It's sad all the way around, man. But I think that sorry, I was saying we will be back for Dynamite. I think that Tony, will definitely acknowledge Jay and what happened, and I think it's going to be one of those emotional nights in AEW. I think that we're really going to see the guys and girls go in there and really want to put on a show on what could be in a very emotional night. But then we're back on Thursday. We'll keep you posted on what we're going to do Thursday. We're playing with some ideas, but let's rumble on Thursday. Doubleheader Friday, and we're doing a 2-in-1 stream on Saturday night. We're going to do XPW and GCW all at the same time. So it's going to be a chaotic, hardcore deathmatch type of Saturday night here on the channel. And as always, folks, we're the only channel covering all of it. So you want to get the insight into what is going on, this is the place to do it. Thank you for being here. Do accept my apologies on behalf of Big Nick and myself. This did obviously, hit us as well as big wrestling fans, as big, Briscoe fans, as being a fan of Jay, but also, being on here live and trying to work through it. So we might not have the usual pep that we normally do, but speaking of pep, the New Day is in the ring, and they're addressing the crowd. There we go. The New Day's here. I want the New Day to fight somebody other than Pretty Deadly, by the way. Thursday Impact and New Japan. Fair enough. We're stay tuned on something like that, Steve. We'll talk. I know Victor, a big advocate of our Impact, but I might have a trick up my sleeve. Yeah, exactly. Regardless of what company you're in, I mean, it's like sports, right? Like, I mean, you might be the heated rivals, and the guy on the other side of the court or course or rink might be your biggest foe when game time's on. But in these moments, all of that goes aside. It's the same thing I said about you know Jay's past and such. I mean, for anybody to be disparaging to a tragic moment like this and find a reason to do it and justify it, it's just equally negative, equally detracting, and equally in poor taste. Pretty Deadly's here. Didn't want that to happen. I saw Booker tear up after the commercial. Yeah, because Booker would have pretty good ties to guy. I mean, obviously we know his work with his wrestling school and running independent shows and such down in Texas. So yeah, I mean, again, the Briscoes were everywhere. They touched a lot of people, and you know, it's unfortunate. Gallus is the number one contender for the New Day at Vengeance Day. That's much better, Damien. That's much better. Uh-oh. And it isn't fair. Do. Who. I think the New Day being down in NXT is not a bad thing. Let young teams chase them. They'll give them solid matches. Now it looks like there's potentially going to be a three-way at Vengeance Day. Wait a minute. Oh, he is Scottish as sin. Bang on. Oh. Gallus sounds like my two uncles. You think Pretty Deadly getting called up? I don't know. I feel like they've struggled to get over here. Maybe I'm wrong. I know they did decent things in NXT UK, But honestly, since coming here, I get their gimmick. It doesn't elicit good heel heat. Like I'm not like, oh man, I wish these guys keep getting the best of, the guys I like, or I just they don't really move the needle for me, and they haven't got over with me at all. Even as heels, I don't really care. I want them out of this situation. You know what? Gallus versus the New Day. Take my money. Guys, you can watch Okada versus Switchblade, Jay White from Wrestle Kingdom 17. The good news is, I already watched it, so I can go to bed after my stream. But yeah, if you haven't seen Okada versus Jay White, go check it out. It was a great match. It would have been a better match if it didn't. Oh, Pretty Deadly going after both teams. But it would have been a better match if it hadn't followed Osprey and Omega. So if you haven't seen Wrestle Kingdom 17, you just catch Okada Switchblade, you'll play better for you. Colfin Hayes. Huh? There you go. Yeah, you know what, Stay? There you go. A couple producers running out. But yeah, we've been talking about that. I mean, if Carmelo's not going to get called up with Trick, I really hope they leave them together. I hope they don't mess that up because they have a chemistry that works. But if you're not going to call Carmelo and Trick up, you got to push them to the top of the pile. You got to have them involved in the top of this division. You can't have them like, I mean, I don't care for a random tag match with Cruz and Axiom, and they lost. So I'd rather see Carmelo in some type of angle against Braun and a part of that. Even if he won the title at some point, I'd be all for it. Not in a rush to get him to the main card. I think the main card right now is just a meat grinder, and there's a lot going on. All right, Valkyrie saying usually I fly alone. Like Nick said, she finds a way to get her bird in her bird. She finds a way to slip that bird language into just about everything. Javier's here. Now he's got a guitar. Javier had a Christmas album, apparently. Like a couple weeks ago, Gallus wins a gauntlet match to become number one contenders. That is true. See, you don't retain a whole lot from NXT for good reason. Will Ospreay and Omega was the match of the night. Oh, absolutely. That might be the match of the year. We got 11 months to go, and we got to figure this out. But they definitely set a good bar going into 2023. That match was outstanding, and that match really shows to me that I think Kenny Omega is better off without the Bucks. I really do. I think that was a hell of a match. I think both guys laid it all out there. Big fan of Osprey and what he brings to the table. But being I've been highly critical of AEW Kenny, I was super impressed with this match. They tore it down. It's too hard to argue. Jordan Grace and Mickey James have thrown their name in the hat for an early contender for match of the year. So hopefully January's indication that we are going to get some good wrestling throughout this year. They might have a pretty good debate about what was the best match of all year. Will there be a triple threat match? It looks that way, Bobby. Don't love the idea. A triple threat match to me implies that the New Day probably will not retain, and them losing a triple threat will be the route. They don't get pinned. Gallus pins Pretty Deadly or vice versa. I'm leaning towards Gallus. Remember, last time we saw Gallus, they were getting arrested before they came back for the gauntlet match. Yeah, Javier can go away. All the way away. Yeah, no need for Javier on this program. Yes. Oni Lorcan, Biff Busick. If you guys haven't seen Biff or Oni against John Moxley, Bloodsport, last year. Google that shit. That is a match worth watching. To me, it was almost like this could be the future of wrestling because very much got that death match, blood sport feel in the confines of still, a pro wrestling match. So these two guys were gushing blood. They laid it out. What a match. Jay Briscoe Memorial Tag Team Invitational, upcoming Ring of Honor pay per view in March. Smile Mark, that is excellent. Is that a hope or is that something that's happening? Is that something that's been reported? I'm curious. Oni Lorcan is the producer backstage now in NXT. Yes, sir. I think Oni can wrestle. I liked Oni in the ring, except he kept breaking people's noses. Omega in Japan is a different Kenny. Love it. Listen, Nick keeps telling me that. Like you and I've looked through a lot of the tapes. I've watched a lot of the old matches. And of course, we talk about the rivalry between Okada and Kenny and his time with the Bullet Club. There is a guy in there that can deliver, but I know the AEW fans are going to come at me. What about this match? And what about this match? Kenny, as an overall mainstream superstar, hasn't translated in AEW. He's too busy playing grab ass with the Bucks, and it dumbs him down. It makes him less than. If he had Gallus do a ton of his talking, kind of Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns style, he did less talking, but when he did talk, it was poignant and less breathy, and then just got in the ring and delivered bangers. Let's go. I would change my mind on Kenny in a heartbeat. However, he's trios champion, he's playing grab ass, and a lot of the stuff is goofy and childish.
Speaking of grab ass and childish and goofy, check. But no, I 100%, and I know I've been the flag bearer for that. Of Kenny Omega in Japan is what got me to be a fan of Kenny Omega. What he's done in AEW has not shown any of that.
No. And like people say, well, he had a really good match with Paige, or did he?
Compare that to Okada. Did he?
Right? Does that fall into like with the whole, starving cracker theory of like when you're starving, someone gives you a cracker, it's a delicious cracker.
It's a 5-course meal.
Right? Is that a saltine?
Ooh, I can taste the butter. I can taste the salt. See, even Steve's agreeing with you, saying you're 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I don't know what we're spitballing, but hopefully not.
Same thing. And you know what? It's this. Dave Poston said something that you've said many times here on the stream, Nick, is that, Kenny's different in Japan. If you could trick him into being in Tokyo Dome all the time, he would be he could elevate himself to a superstar status.
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's like you talked about. He becomes kind of less than, he becomes more. I don't know of if there's anyone outside of maybe Moxley who could try and hang with him on that type of level, like the way he wrestles in Japan.
Yeah.
No, Hangman's not doing that. I honestly, even as I'm an MJF fan, I don't think you're not having a New Japan style match with MJF.
Fair enough. But I mean,
maybe Danielson. Danielson's probably the only other one.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you could probably get it out of like a Cole. Cole give you like a good old Iron Man match or something solid with anybody if Cole's healthy. The other thing is Kenny's talked a lot about his injuries and going through a lot of surgeries and recovery and not not loving the process of rehabbing and recovering and he doesn't want to do too often. So going to play, I mean, and I say that, but then we had that match on last Wednesday when they went fucking crazy.
True.
But again, it pales in comparison because the Osprey match was such a good match. The trio thing was just fucking chaos.
That's one thing, and that's why even when we were live doing the watch party for that and everything, of how that Osprey, and for those watching NXT, we do have Braun talking right now in an interview backstage about Vengeance Day. But when they had Omega versus Osprey, I was like, that's the main event. When they had that go on second to last, I was like, okay, cool. So you're just shitting on Okada and Jay White now, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just on a quick side, I was just reading a report real quick that a car collision, according to the Delaware State Police, has killed two. So, um, yeah, thoughts and prayers to both.
Right.
I know we haven't
uh,
talked about the other person involved, but we don't know that person yet. But still, the same sentiments. It's tragic for two people to lose their lives so
Absolutely.
suddenly.
Pro wrestler or not, of to have somebody that's not here today that was when we started today is just sad. Exactly, Nick. That's how I knew who he was when he replaced Prince Devitt, aka Finn Balor in the Bullet Club. No, AJ replaced Devitt, and then Kenny replaced Omega,
Like,
and then Jay White
wait,
replaced
Kenny can't replace Omega. Rephrase.
or Styles. Sorry, Kenny replaced Styles, and then Jay White replaced Omega.
Yes, yes, you're
That's
accurate.
the lineage, I guess, of the
Hmm.
Bullet Club crown. There, I guess.
Yeah, I got pulled down that rabbit hole not too long ago where I watched like like each era, the end of each Bullet Club era.
Oh, I've watched that. As
Yeah,
we've
dude, just
got
keep going. Let's go.
Javier Barnell is out right now doing
Oh,
his
March
best
4th.
or his worst, I should say. Elias,
Yeah,
Jeff
what
Jarrett
the fuck
impression.
is this? Excuse my
Why?
French.
Well, no, I think in honor of Jay Briscoe, you can absolutely say fuck.
Yeah, no, fair enough, right? I mean,
And so thankfully, Tyler Bate is the one that cuts this train wreck off. So we're going to get a squash match here of Javier Barnell versus Tyler Bate. So if you want to give a prediction, give your predictions, folks, and tell me why it's Tyler Bate.
they even cut him off like Elias. And Elias doesn't even do Elias's gimmick anymore. Bullshit.
No, he just gets squashed by Omos.
So is this the main event? Tyler Bate versus
It's
Javier?
gotta be.
Oh, what a shit show.
Way to go, Sean. Way to go. Maybe that's what we need to just start going through WWE products and be like, Vince, is this you?
This is
Like, really, I know Sean's supposedly in charge of this, but this reeks of McMahonism.
listen, I mean, you couldn't have found somebody more compelling for Bate to be. Like this should be a squash match. Maybe there's another match after this, folks. Fact checkers.
Hopefully, maybe, if this only takes like 10 seconds. Kenny Omega and Asser? What? He's a co-founder of AW. Your point?
Wait, who? What?
Kenny Omega and a Asser? Question mark. He's the co-founder of AW.
Yeah, he's
What does
still an
that got
answer.
to?
Yeah, yeah, that's
What does
okay.
A have to do with B?
Yeah, no,
Um,
no. Just because Kenny and his buddies talked a billionaire into buying a wrestling company for them doesn't mean he's not assing around. And maybe that's what is causing him to ass around. When you're out there in Japan and your job's on the line, and whether you make money or not matters on your performance. You see a hungry, driven, not in this case, but in the past, a hungry, driven young Kenny Omega. When you got guaranteed money and you're best friends with the boss, man, it'd be hard to fucking talk me into a day of work.
enough said right there. For those who are
Right.
listening to the audio version or just listening to me talk, I just did the Bret Hart WCW because that's what AW's always stenched of. As like I was saying, of NXT right now is stinking of Vince McMahon. As Steve's saying, guys, VKM never left.
It's
This was
true.
all Vince. I
Well,
honestly, he left for a hop, skip, and a jump. He left
you know,
until
he
the
did
heat
that.
died down.
Mhm. No, but he did that thing kind of like if you ever get in an argument with your significant other and you like go sit in the car for a second and then, kind of yell at the steering wheel and then go back in. I'm okay.
I
That's
need
kind of
a
what Vince did. He just
documentary on
stepped
what
back.
Vince McMahon did in his time away from WWE. I need to know like the 30, the 60, the 90 days, however long it was of what Vince did in
Oh, we
his
know
time
what he
away.
did, bro. We know
Well,
what he
besides
did.
talking to the Saudis, I mean, did he just stare at a wall?
Nope. Nope. That man was plotting from the minute he walked. The minute they told him what their plan was, he was plotting. And now it's so insane because I thought tonight we were going to talk about Vince McMahon for approximately 2 hours, and it's just crazy because now he's being sued by shareholders. Other
By the
people are
Detroit
quitting.
police.
Yeah, and firefighter.
Right.
Crazy, right? Like just and I don't think this is going to stop because now it actually feels like Vince has pushed himself back in. He even changed uh
Amendments.
amendments. He's like, I can do whatever I want.
He amended bylaws. Sorry, that's the correct term. He
What do you
amended
think
bylaws that he set into place when he took back over.
right? Like, so let it be written. So let it be done.
Right. So, well, now he doesn't have to get
Mm-hmm.
all shareholders to agree on a sale of the media rights, what have you. So, I still think we talked about earlier about how they may have not been the front runners anymore, but they're definitely still in the game of maybe this is all set up for Saudi. No one can offer Vince more money.
No, nobody can. That's what the debate becomes. And I know a lot of the AW
Oh,
fans are like, what about a merger? And what about this? You need to let that go. It's
yeah,
not
there's two
happening.
halves to a sale, and not to mention, do we really want to give Tony Khan more to do? We've seen what he can do now. Do we want to add more to his plate as Tyler Bates just squashing Javier right now? Oh,
Yeah, I don't want this match to be competitive.
well, it's not. It's over now. Tyler Bate
Yeah.
hits the Rhea Ripley pin there for the 1-2-3.
Does Tyler Bate officially own the smallest set of trunks in the? Oh, they botched, bro.
Oh yeah, they very much did. He went up for the finish once and just nope.
Twice, and then just pressed his head against his ass.
Yeah, like I said, the Rhea Ripley pen. Oh, and up next was so thankfully that wasn't the main
Oh,
event.
hey,
We do still
okay.
have
Whew.
Roxanne Perez. So like I called, we've got Roxanne Perez versus Leah Valkyria versus Toxic Attraction. At least they're ending with what they started the show off with.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give them that.
I want to hear what. I think I'm going to play this real quick, and then I'll risk. I'll risk. I'm going to have to blur this part out when we go live.
Let me tell y'all why we don't like Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin.
Can you hear that?
See, the majority of pro wrestling fans look at tag teams from Monday night. You know, they put them up on this pedestal just because they was on Monday Night Raw. Briscoe's ain't never been on there. They must be down here. World's greatest tag team, hooray! Monday Night Raw, my ass. That's the number one reason why we don't like Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, because people, the average wrestling fan, the majority of wrestling fans, not all of them, but the majority of wrestling fans put them above the Briscoes by default. Now let me tell y'all a story. About 2 years ago, about 2 years, was it? Two and a half.
I like it.
2.5 years ago, we had a little trial match for WWE. It was before a SmackDown taping in Philadelphia. We went in there, had a little tryout, did our thing, whatever. I guess they was impressed because they invited us down to Florida for a week at their little FCW developmental center. All expenses paid. All expenses paid in the Hyatt, chilling. Either way, we was down there, had a little trial. We was down there for a week. I thought things went good. And that's what they said, too. We thought it went real good down there. And everybody was telling us, yeah, y'all doing real good. Y'all might get these contracts. This was 2 years ago. I'm just seeing dollar signs. They talking about y'all might get these contracts. So, we're waiting around. We get back home, we waiting. I'm telling all the boys, like, yeah, we did it down there. We getting ready to all be eating. It's going to be on our tag. We done did it down there, boys. We hype. I'm telling my wife she ain't never going to have to work again. She can quit bartending. We got this. So we wait a month, go by, another couple months, we get a phone call. Apparently, the Briscoes are not cosmetically pleasing enough for the WWE.
True story.
That exact words. Come on now. Exact words. Cosmetically pleasing. Well, excuse me, Mr. John Laurinaitis, I forgot this was a damn beauty contest. Cosmetically pleasing my ass, brother. And the thing that got me, man, the boys down in developmental, yeah, you got some good ones, of course. Mainly the people from ROH, but the majority of them wasn't even really that nice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shoot, they come right out of modeling school, right off of the Tough Man contest where they show their little muscles and
I don't want to
shit.
stop.
Well, it figures though that it's Laurinaitis that makes it like a beauty contest and everything.
For a few months, and next thing you know, they're on TV, they're millionaires. Hey, what happened to paying your dues?
All right, I'll call it there. No, but I mean, I thought it was a great example. I mean, and you even hear it. They're not polished. They're not clean, but they get across. They connect. You get it. I mean, even when he's talking about, oh man, I thought this was gonna break, and I was telling my wife to like quit her job at the bar. We've all been there. Like, this is my day. Let's go.
Right. Again, very much how I'm a big fan of Eddie Kingston and a huge fan, I would say, of Eddie Kingston and everything, because everybody knows 10 Eddie Kingstons. Christ, I feel like I'm an Eddie Kingston type thing. Just same thing with the Briscoes. Like, you could say, Christ, we're the goddamn Briscoes, all of that. You know somebody who's absolutely 100% like that. If they're just them, they talk with the little drawl and everything like that, and they're uncut. They say literally what comes through their fucking mind at that time. But they know that that they mean business. They're going to put on a hell of a fucking show, and you're probably going to whoop your ass too.
Yeah, they're going to put you to work. And I mean, that whole story about them not being cosmetically pleasing. And I mean, again, that's the downfall of a company when you let John Laurinaitis pick the talent out of fucking models and lingerie magazines, where if he had any sense in his fucking head, he would have seen the talent that he had there and been able to do something with them. And maybe them being gritty and grimy and not cosmetically pleasing gets them over.
They stand out amongst everybody that looks like the prototype to go back to the old John Cena gimmick.
How is Chase U still celebrating, by the way? Wasn't that match a half hour ago?
Yeah, well, when you don't accomplish much, you gotta celebrate the small wins, I guess.
Right.
Chris saying they sound like Dusty Rhodes, baby. They're wheeling and dealing, just stealing. The American Dream. Now, trust me, because you imagine the Briscoes doing a Hard Times Baby promo.
Right.
And that's basically what all of their promos were about. Like I said before, you 100% felt like this is them. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't a character that they put on. This isn't them trying to work an angle, whatever. This is literally just them. 100% authentic.
Them. And there's cutting promos in their backyard to sell
fucking chicken coops.
Mm-hmm. And the little shot. They got some good guys over in developmental, mostly from Ring of Honor. Been a few. No, yeah, maybe. Southern boys love it.
No, Delaware boys.
Right?
They sound Southern as shit just because they're country.
Oh, they got that country drawl for sure, man.
Oh yeah.
And but it was good. And I mean
they're redneck.
Yeah, and they didn't shy away from it. And again, to tell, that's where you lack imagination. If you can see the Briscoe standing before you and they're killing it in the ring, and you're like, shit, look at these guys go. Oh yeah, they're amazing, but I don't like how they look. That's just a lack of fucking brain. It's a lack of imagination. That's fucking awful.
Right. As we are getting Toxic Attraction versus Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but
he's in the Rumble.
Yeah, he's already been advertised, and now, interestingly enough, who was advertised on the poster and then since hasn't, and I still think could be a surprise at the Rumble, is Mr. Brocky Lesnar, Cowboy Brock Lesnar. Speaking of country boys,
well, they better have a fucking plan, because if he wins it, I'm not playing.
No, he won't win it. It's setting up him versus Bobby.
Maybe, and then Bobby needs the Hurt Business for help. Maybe.
Well, I've seen that idea pitched. I've seen that the Hurt Business forms in the Rumble.
Yep.
Then they kind of just run roughshod for a bit.
Not bad. I like that.
Right.
But your NXT Women's Champion is in the ring, folks. I like her. She's talented.
She's AJ Lee, just newer. Who you taking?
Sadly, no, Chris. It's Toxic. I'm going Toxic because it sets up the champion lost in a tag match, but she'll probably win.
They're both number one contenders.
Yeah, let them both win.
Tope! Dive through the middle rope from Roxanne Perez onto Jacy Dane, and now drop kick through the ropes onto Gigi. But I guess then for the sake of just disagreements, I'll take Team Babyface of Roxy and Valkyria, even though I know I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, the only way I could see this not going to Roxy is that. Sorry, the only way I see this not going to Toxic Attraction is if Toxic Attraction can't figure out who gets the pin.
That you start this, get dissension between the two.
Brock lives in Canada now. Yeah, we've recruited Brock Lesnar to Canada. He's now ours.
What do we get in return? What do we get in this trade? A couple draft picks, something like that.
I don't know. We've given the Americans like Adam Sandler and you want the list?
Adam Sandler. Is Adam Sandler straight up Canadian?
Oh, 100%. Michael Myers. We gave you. Off. Oh, wait. No, Adam Sandler's not Canadian.
Yeah, he's from my.
I made that up. Yeah, I know.
That's why I'm like, wait, hold on.
Hold on.
Lion ass.
Jim Carrey is where I wanted to say Jim Carrey at first. Right. That's where it went.
James, what?
Wrestling wise, who did we give you? I don't know. Brett came home. You got Sammy and Gail right now. Jericho. We traded you Jericho for Lesnar.
You can have that. That ain't what I'm at. You can take that as back.
Yeah, y'all took him and just sent him.
Right. That trade was null and void. We found an injury.
Yes, he's from New York.
No, Adam Sandler's from New Hampshire.
There you go.
But no, with Chris Jericho, the mind is willing, but the body isn't able.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, Roxy with a diving elbow.
Damn.
2 count. Tagging a JC Jane. So, folks, if you haven't given us a prediction for this match right now, that's the main event. And on one hand, I think I've never been more thankful to make it to the end of an NXT after everything that we've been talking about earlier with Jay Briscoe. So,
yeah, and more coming in about Jay real quick. We're in this main event, Nick.
Go ahead.
I just want to skip the stuff we already know. I'm just skipping a couple things that we already know, but it says widely known wrestlers in Sussex County. They were currently tag team champions of Ring of Honor. Details surrounding cause of death, blah, blah, blah. Due to the traffic incident, the Laurel School District say they are closing schools on Wednesday, January 18th. Schools will reopen Thursday, January 19th. This is a developing story. More information to come. That is from WBOC. So the whole district is getting the day off school tomorrow in honor.
Well, that tells you again about like what we're talking about of outside of them being, or outside of him at least with Jay, but still have to include Mark. They feel kind of, obviously they are legit brothers, so one and the same a bit, but that they were that beloved and that valuable and that important and that involved in the community and everything like that, besides just being a pro wrestler and all of that, that you have the school district, you're right, you said it was the district, was shutting down school for the day.
Yeah.
After this.
The school officially said, due to unthinkable tragedy in our community this evening, the Laurel School District will be closed for tomorrow, Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. School will reopen on Thursday. Please keep I don't want to mispronounce his actual last name. Please keep the family in your thoughts and prayers. Is it pronounced Pogue?
I think it's Poe. Like
Pogue?
That's normally how I would think you would pronounce that with. It's Pough. So
Pugh. So it's a unique spelling to it. So
it might be Pew. I don't want to.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Get what we're trying to say.
You're not getting Trish. She's a Canadian treasure.
Yeah, she's, you're a franchise star there.
I'll give up Tim Hortons before I give up Trish Stratus. What are you talking about?
We'll just trade you Duncan's for that.
No, not the same. Not the same, homie.
Well, I know it's not the same. I grew up I get it. Trust me, I live in New England, the fucking home of Duncan's. Duncan's is a religion down here.
Yeah.
GG thickness. Oh my. See, wrestling 2023 right now is playing with my goddamn emotions. And I don't
Right?
like when people play with my emotions, Smokey. We've got obviously the tragic news today. We've got Vince McMahon coming back and everything. But we've got right now Gigi with the thickness, Roxanne Perez out there, and Cora Jade just showed up and trying to give it to Toxic Attraction here. Oh,
does Cora Jade join Toxic Attraction?
She becomes their leader?
I throw up in my mouth, sir. That is not a Mandy Rose replacement. And anyone out there right now that's like, KJ Cora would be awesome in Mandy's place.
They just become like the bitchy like high school chicks in every like fucking Disney movie, I feel like.
Yeah, look, she can join, but you got to move one of the other two girls into the leadership role. And it ain't Jane.
GG. Wagon. Oh! Dissension. Jacy Jane misses the tag team finisher, their kind of version of total elimination, and boots Gigi in the face.
You know, I never understand, and I know I look really weird right now, folks, but
little bit. Come back to us.
Business called. Breaking shit.
Come on, Hornswoggle.
Trying to fix my life on the fly here. If I go missing, there's a reason.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even know what I'm saying.
He picks up the win, by the way.
Yes. There you go. I was wrong. wrong.
So I backslid into victory here, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Does a crossbody and a Cora Jade, and we get the boot from Jacy Jane and a GG accidentally, and then Roxanne Perez with the I can't remember what she calls it, but it's basically a fucking Canadian destroyer for a 1, 2, 3.
It's a Canadian destroyer, just a small one.
A mini version. It's a Maple Leaf destroyer instead of a full Canadian.
Right. A Maple Leaf destroyer. I like it. When we used to fuck around with like our own little, our own little promotion where we thought we were cool. I had a brother, and so he would do moves, and they would be like, it was like that where we would call them Niagara Falls and the Canadian Splash. It was all very Canadian.
But again, so we're ending it with Roxanne Perez holding up the title as we're getting dissension in the ring between Toxic Attraction.
I'm still here.
Okay. As KJ's, I guess, doing a modified pause for the cause here. But so that is how we end NXT 2.0 tonight. I don't know why I even called it 2.0 there. My mind's elsewhere with everything with Jay White or goddamn Jay Briscoe. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. My brain's still.
I was going to say I have a bad habit of making a prediction, like I think so and so is going to win, and then I explain how they're not going to win, and that is what happens. I don't know why I don't just predict what I surmise, but I mean that's a good way to do it. Now you got Jane and Gigi arguing to go off the show. I mean, I know this show got completely overshadowed by Jay and the news for obvious reasons, but you know what? The show was hot garbage.
Oh yeah, it was not good. It was very much. And almost feels like you fell into what better? Might as well talk about everything. So
I'm putting a poll out to the crowd as we're wrapping up the show tonight. I'm going to put a poll out. Would you rather watch Impact or would you rather watch NXT?
So I guess you get to make the production notes. I guess when it comes now to the Wrestling for Life Network of switch from covering NXT to Impact. We're pulling the Stephanie McMahon of I quit. Yep. The Batista just rolling out there in the chair with the sling and everything. I quit.
No, I just wanted to take a vote. I'm curious how people feel. Like what's better right now as far as what the fans get in 2023. Are they happier? Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't watch either, but I'm curious.
Right. So folks, if you want us to start covering Impact instead of NXT or vice versa or what have you, of battle of, I guess, the mediocre wrestling shows. NXT versus Impact.
Right.
Don't do it in the chat right now. We got a poll going up here.
Yeah, the chat's going to light up.
Now, won't forget. Vitamins, folks. But at least we've already got a 50-50 split. But I do see ratings coming in going from 6 to 2.5 to 7 to 8 to 7. 7 seems to be the lucky number. I still think 7's pretty goddamn high. I think 5.5, not that. I could go there, maybe.
6? Okay. I don't. Maybe I was distracted all night, guys. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
might have to defer to some of the audience and kind of go with the average
Yeah,
here.
you guys get to decide, because if I was going to give it, I'm going to say Dem Boys out of 10, because I can't give it an NXT a rating to NXT, because I didn't give a fuck past getting certain news. So
Yeah, no, seriously. But yeah, I mean, what I did, like, I mean, what was happening while we were watching? Again, a lot of it sucked. I mean, the opening match was pretty good. I think the tag match was decent. I don't know about 8s and 7s.
yeah, I think 2.5 right there from James might be more in the realm here. But so here we've got a lengthy answer from Chris here about your question. Um, honestly, that's a tough one for me. It depends on the week. Usually I watch NXT with you guys every Tuesday because it's a fun chat and I like chatting with you guys on Thursday for Impact, but I usually don't watch. I usually don't watch Impact and just chat with you guys. So I guess at this point, shameless
matter
plug,
what.
be a Chris and just chat with us.
Chris is
Regardless of what
happy.
we're watching, just chat with us, be a friend, tell a friend,
Mhm.
like, share, and subscribe. Blow this shit to the moon.
Right? Yeah, Chris is just happy that we're on. 6 out of 10. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it right down the middle. What I saw was meh, but it couldn't be that bad. There had to be some decent stuff in there. The main event was a little whatever. Tyler Bate versus, I don't know how Javier keeps getting booked.
Yeah, how would he make the roster cuts and everything like that? Of what does Vince see in him? Of he's just practicing everybody's else's gimmick. Is that his actual stick? If he's just comes out of
Right?
does impressions? But no, well, Small Mark narrative. That's
Is that
what
the
came in
pot
my head.
calling the kettle copycat?
Yeah, fuck you. Shots fired.
kid.
But no,
I'm
Small Mark
kidding
read
because
my
of love.
mind there. Oh, I know. Small Mark read my mind there. Of a 4 came into my mind, but like I said, of I can't give this. If I have to give an official, I guess, Big Nick rating, it's a Dem Boys out of 10. If I didn't give a rat's ass
Yeah.
about anything NXT, I was on here saying I might as well just throw on a Briscoe's match and just start watching that, because I'd rather
Yeah.
watch that
I kind of
than
want to.
anything NXT.
Yeah. That being said, I'm gonna go right there with you. I think that will be my official rating for tonight. Is yeah, Dem Boys 10 out of 10. Jay
Right.
Briscoe 10 out of 10. Thoughts and prayers with your family and anyone else involved in this incident. As we heard, we're Sussex County are closing down schools because of this. It's not where people say sometimes, "Oh, they're just wrestlers." No, they're people,
This
and
is beyond wrestling.
yeah, this is beyond wrestling. Yeah, it sucks. You know what? We're going to see some pay-per-views and the Briscoes won't be on it, and that's going to be unfortunate. But there's kids that won't get to see their dad, or there's family members that won't get to see their uncle, cousin, brother, sister, whatever. And that's the big story here. And sometimes we forget that when we're dealing with people in the public eye. So 10 out of 10. I mean, Jay was a 10 out of 10. I know some people want to be critical about certain things. It's irrelevant at this point. And you'll see over the next couple of days what a positive impact they had. And this is, like I said earlier, not to go back down this road. The only thing I'm going to say about it is in 2023, when we hold people accountable for one moment of their life over all the other shit they do, you got to be careful with that. And unless you're perfect, keep those stones in your pocket.
Right. Those who throw stones in a glass house, sink ships and all of that. But shout out to anybody that gets that reference.
That was a really good one, actually.
But sorry, quit clicking things. After the bad news, I no longer paid attention to NXT. Steve just telling us you'll do Impact in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I guess you're trying to say New Japan Pro Wrestling follows Impact. Well,
yeah, but the problem with the New Japan shows they put on after Impact, because we used to do Impact, is that like they're old as hell. Like they're gonna be splicing up Wrestling Kingdom and playing it like in consecutive weeks. Like
yeah, well, and it's going to be again. It comes even to the issue of with Impact a little bit of it's always been an issue of finding it.
Find it. Yeah, apparently access is a pain in the ass sometimes.
Yeah, especially when you live in America. But then don't they have their whole YouTube membership and all of that? But anyways, well, James agreeing with you here, I guess. Me and you finally agree. NXT sucks.
You know what? I can't get into any of it. Like I want to, and I know there's people like I know there's potential for good matches. Gallus straight up against the New Day, great. Throwing Pretty Deadly in the mix, bad. Axiom being involved in most things, bad. Fucking Tiffany Stratton, bad. Wendy Chu, bad. I don't care for any of it. And every time they clip to the back, Brooks and Dunn are the most like we just spent 2 hours talking about the Briscoes, hard nosed, gritty, grimy, good old Southern boys. Here's Brooks and Dunn, the polar opposite of just I don't know how to get a girlfriend and I don't know how to
The
wrestle.
candy ass Cowboys. The they should go and hang out with
Put them in a faction with Paige.
The Millennial Cowboys.
Right, the Millennial Cowboys, where they're all feelings and mushy.
Right. Maybe a 4 only because they mentioned Jay as well. Then that's again an interesting point, I guess, to kind of maybe put a button on this of how even NXT, WWE, who you just were playing a clip about how they weren't aesthetically appealing to John Laurinaitis and Vince in the gang, even though they were good at the tryouts and all of that, that they still took the time to acknowledge Jay passing and everything like that. That this goes beyond pro wrestling at this point.
And it has to. There's only, I mean, in this world, you need to have respect for certain things and certain, if you have respect for each other, it goes a long way. And yeah, it's not about business right now. It's not about anything else. There's people that are really impacted by what just happened, and it's nobody, nobody would know that more than the people closest to him. But for me, it just speaks to guys, live for the moment, don't waste time. If you want to go on a trip, if you've been eyeing somebody that you're interested in, if you haven't talked to somebody in a while but you care about them, family members that you fell out with, just go tell somebody you love them. I talked to my mom's today. It was a good day. So make sure you touch base with people. And I got 3 brothers, man. This hits home.
Oh, absolutely. Again, 3 brothers and a sister. If we're gonna get into all of that, so trust me, that's very much as I'll touch on what I was gonna say. I just want to get through some of these real quick. Of Chris, what up? You don't gotta apologize for being late. You can always just go back and rewatch this and everything like that. Absolutely, it stays up all the time. But yes, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe, Marvin. What up as well? I like this name for Brooks and Dunn. They might change their nickname to Fake Back Mountain.
On a side note,
right? On a side note, to see and again, thank you, KJ Nick, for cheering me up. Was funny when you said how they can how can they get a girlfriend, but that's I guess too with such sad news coming through and everything, and how it literally just became an outpour of support for the Briscoes, for talking about Jay, all of that, and it just the wrestling community kind of realized of wait, all of this just doesn't fucking matter that much and everything.
No, go ahead.
No, that this can all disappear in a blink of a fucking eye.
Absolutely.
So to even be on here and to talk through all of this live and all of that, and us kind of all as a wrestling community, or even our little neck of the woods that we've built and everything, to kind of, if we made you feel halfway better during all of this and everything, then I guess I did a good thing. That's really what it boils down to, of like I said, of from especially watching it live and being a Bills fan, all of that, from the DeMar Hamlin thing to now this and all of that. And you've talked about your story and just all around of tell somebody that you love them, because you don't know when you're going to get the chance to do it again. That's why I trust me. I tell my wife I love her fucking 1,000 times a day. She's probably sick of it at this point and everything. In every conversation, whether it's with my father, my mother, Christ, I've even told this man beside me, and even our brother from another mother's, Cliff and fucking CJ and everything, of getting off a stream of, love you, all of that. It's, you don't know when you're going to get that chance, and when you won't be able to say that again. So this really makes you appreciate the moments that you get.
Absolutely, 110%. And I think that's when you look around this world. I think a lot of us take it for granted. This big old rolling rock could blow up tomorrow. Don't think you got forever to figure this shit out. Do
Right.
do you and do it now. And yeah, I mean, without being too preachy. And I mean, when the
Preach, oh my brother,
if
testify.
ever you're gonna preach, right? But and I think if there's ever in these moments, I always try and put it in the context of the person. What would they want in this moment? Some people would want you to sit down and gather around with family and read it, read through memories or whatever. But in this case, very much, if Jay was still here, he'd slap you on the back, hand you a stiff one, and tell you to, pucker up. You'll be fine. And I think that's
Right,
why.
you
I
them
mean,
boys.
right? And I mean, it's rare when something like this happens when we're live, but we've done it a few times now. And I mean, if we just talk about it, I mean, it sucks, but at least we have an outlet and we get microphones, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and yeah, this has probably at times been the quietest this channel's ever been as well. By the way,
Yeah, collectively for you and I mean,
when you're literally trying to grab for something, there's nothing.
Yeah, the guy's known for talking for hours upon hours each week, and it's just, I mean, a good 10, 15 minutes after. I mean, even in points where you're like, KJ, you good, my guy? And I'm like, I'm just zoned out thinking. Like I was thinking about
Right. Oh yeah.
what
Oh,
other
trust me.
matches did I
I
see
was
him in?
literally
And
even when I sat there and took a pause. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you there.
no go.
But even when I was sitting there taking a pause and everything, I literally was chatting with people on
Yeah.
Instagram and all of that of like, oh my god, did you hear about this? Like this is I'm trying to deal with this and all that right now. You just kind of tune a lot of shit out.
Yeah, and I mean, it just is what it is.
Right.
We, I appreciate the comments from people in the chat that show up and they have positives to say, and they appreciate, the place. I mean, Chris made me chuckle. I'll get back to that one, but you guys are always speaking facts and tell your loved ones that you love them because life is full of surprises. It is, man. It is. Um, Fuck, it really is. Like, I can't tell you guys enough, and I got a tattoo on my arm commemorating, a couple big events, and one of which I shared with you guys. And again, you don't know. You go from a perfectly complete day whistling Dixie, minding your own business, and next thing, poof. So
Right.
don't take it for granted. If you guys want to do something cool, something big, you want to, like I said, hug somebody, love somebody. The next time you got an urge to tell someone to go fly a kite, or that's a very polite British way of saying go fuck yourself. But yeah, just maybe hold back.
It costs you nothing to be nice to somebody.
Yeah. And that's what I think I love a lot about doing this here live. And I know we're getting a little rambly at this point, and I got a couple more details I think to share with everybody. But I think that's why I love coming on here as much as I do. And there's nights where Nick's like, dude, stay home, like, rest. And I'm like, no, I want to. It's just, it's so good to see the community. And you see a place where not everyone agrees with everything we say here, and not everyone agrees with each other in this chat.
Right. Not everyone agrees with each other half the time on stream.
Yeah, we rarely agree with each other on some days. So, and that's it. But you're allowed to do that without, going completely to a dark place and being putrid. And I think more of that needs to happen. I was going to give a similar speech already because the Cody Rhodes thing coming out and then watching a lot of the fan reaction. And I agree. But at the same time, shut the fuck up. These shows aren't built for exactly what you want, how you want it. There's a method to the madness. You might not love it. But again, like people just lose their mind and like, they'll go on Twitter and tell a wrestler or like a guy like Cornette, like, I'm going to come to your house and kill you. You're like, why? Pourquoi? That's like you saying you like pineapple on pizza and someone else saying they don't, and you beat the shit out of them with the pizza.
I mean,
bad example.
I am Italian, so I mean, I might not beat you up, but I mean, accidents might happen.
You can be disappointed without.
Oh, I'm very. Well, that's almost worse. If I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. I hope listen, there's no doubt that, and I think if there was ever a time for Tony to look at the network and say, We realize you had an issue with this man working for our company. However, on this particular night, his face is going to be up on this screen, and we are going to honor him. Period. He needs to put his foot down. And
I
this
think it'll
needs to
be
happen.
you almost could get, like you were saying, of like how they did it with Brody Lee. If you could get a Jay Briscoe tribute show, or Briscoe Brothers tribute show.
Yeah. Briscoe's got me into Ring of Honor. That's the reason I started watching. Damien, I mean, that's a good reason. And they were a big part of why I would always seek out Ring of Honor. I always wanted to see it. They, and not just
Why
them.
I was going to
But
say why we covered half the fucking indie promotions and everything that we did,
Mhm.
like Wrestling Revolver, and why at times we were covering GCW shows and all of that, because the Briscoes were on the fucking card. You instantly,
Mhm.
I think House of Glory is a prime example. I think the first show we
Mhm.
did had the Briscoes on it, and that's what sold us on that show.
Yeah, no, exactly here. I mean, we followed the Briscoes around as a channel because, again, we knew they were a draw. We knew if they were in, the WWE or AEW, people would tune in to see them. And we followed them around, and we have the ability to kind of pick our programming here. And if the Briscoes were on the card, that was the pay-per-view or the special that won out. I mean, if we had to debate or figure it out or whatever, we were going to cover a Briscoes match. And like you said, we watched them do death matches. We just watched them put over main event in a phenomenal match.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Christ, they're still even the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions right now, because they just had their whole feud with FTR. They had the end of the trilogy.
Yeah. They go through that dog collar match. It's a brutal match, but they got
arguably solo just the best match of 2022, let alone the two other matches that they had.
Yeah, I mean, when you can say in a calendar year we put out 3, hard to beat matches and 3 of the best tag team matches people have probably seen in 4 or 5 years. Yeah, amen to that, guys. Good job. And both Dax and Wheeler, I'm positive actually now that I think about it. But both of them have put out something as well. I just saw a picture that Dax put out of the 4 boys taking a shot. Just reading this report that I caught quick. Details are still limited, but yes, it was Jay Briscoe and another passenger died Tuesday evening in a fatal car crash. Laurel Road and Little Hill Road around 5:30 p.m. The other passengers yet to be identified other than adult, according to Shore News Beacon. The car had 2 other passengers that were so there was 4 people in the car.
Wow.
So we got we also have 2 other passengers that are in critical, with one being
we're not even fully out of the, I guess I hate to put it this way, but we're not even fully out of the woods here when it comes to this. And then again, I know I talked about how this goes beyond wrestling, of again, thoughts and prayers to the other person who lost their life in that accident. It wasn't just Jay. And like you said, there's 2 other people that were involved in this that are in critical condition. So
one is being listed as pediatric, so that makes your heart stop in a quick way.
Yup, all I'm going to say is thoughts and prayers with everybody involved with this. I don't know at this point what else to say. As soon as once you said that, that's shit that makes your fucking heart drop, your stomach drop, all that.
As a Papa Bear man, you never want to hear about anything like that in any regard. So yeah, and I'm just looking now at Dax, really nice montage of pictures between them, and obviously you don't have those matches, that rivalry, without love and respect for the people on the other side. And I know some people say, well, they can hate each other and do it, and that's not what I'm referring to.
No, those 2, that's your Freebirds in the Rock and Roll Express, to I guess quote, my favorite guy there, Jim Cornette. There are any sort of your Hardy, like I talked about it earlier when you want to pause there, of your Hardys, Dudley Boys, Engine Christian, all of that, of the story that those 4 men have told in the ring throughout this promotion, that promotion, etc. That's a bond you don't just kind of happen upon. That's something special.
Yeah, and I mean, probably one of the closest to last things we'll say about this, as we wind up and say goodnight till tomorrow, folks. Just looking through right now, I mean, everybody. There's a picture out there now with with Jim Cornette in it. We see from I said we saw from Dax. Chris Jericho has gone public with his sentiment. And as you start to read the names or see the names of people who are shouting this out and mentioning it and offering their thoughts and prayers, you realize how far widespread their impact was. And I'm not, I do not believe I'm overselling this. I do not believe that this is some post-mortem pedestal. I truly believe they had earned it. If they were more aesthetically pleasing to Johnny Ace, we would have known on the mainstream, or the mainstream fans
Your
would have known.
casual fan would have known Jay
Mhm.
Briscoe, would have known Mark Briscoe.
Because I will tell this to Johnny Ace or anybody else in charge of a wrestling show ever. I will take fucking a list of ugly motherfuckers that you don't think are aesthetically pleasing, that deliver fucking banger match after banger match over a whole bunch of pretty people that can't do shit, and you call that NXT.
Fair
Full
enough.
circle.
But yeah, it goes to show you of, on one hand, it sucks that stuff like this is the only time that the wrestling community can get the fuck together and
Mhm.
actually coexist. But it shows you how beloved they were, not only
Across
just in
the
the
board.
wrestling community, but just as human beings.
Mhm.
Like you talked about earlier, and you kind of, I think, broke it though, where you had school districts shutting down school for the day because
Mhm.
of the impact of this loss in the community. Of Jay Briscoe was not just a special professional wrestler; he was a special human being.
Mhm.
Regardless of whatever you feel about some shit that he fucking threw out there, whenever, because we've all said
Mhm.
stupid shit. Just not everybody had the fucking
Mhm.
platform or the fucking microphone in their face.
True story.
Um, but the fact that he's not here today, that's a
Mhm.
loss of a special human being, regardless of a
Yeah.
special pro wrestler.
Mhm. Yeah, because in spite of that moment, and again, I don't condone the sentiment. I don't condone what he had said at the time, but it was over a decade ago. Shit was different. I'm not here to judge.
Shit can People can apologize for shit
And he did, and he did on
multiple
multiple
times.
occasions. And he also, contributed. He put action behind his words. He didn't just
Right.
throw out, "Oh, I'm sorry." He actually did. He actually got involved and wanted to, have a better mindset. And I mean, you hate to say it, but I mean, again, sometimes we're victims of the people around us, and we don't know any better. And education is the best thing we could do for each other. And beyond that, I don't give a shit. And I know some
Rather than
people.
cancel somebody, why not try and teach
Mhm.
somebody?
I know, you run a risk of even, we're talking about it. It runs the risk in 2023 of like, hey, look at these supporters. No, 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 it's not what it is. And at the end of the day, it's bullshit. We need to forgive and forget and move past. And I mean, this is a great example of a guy that deserved a better shot at bigger things. And AEW would have put him on national syndicated TV, consistent, or not nationally broadcasted TV consistently, but we get hung up on details. And
I hate the again, and
yeah,
I'll this will be the last thing I say, unless you got anything else to say before I kind of we wrap it up
no,
here. But I just hate that this is the stuff that has to bring wrestling fans in a wrestling community, and
yeah.
the IWC, whatever bullshit name you want to give it to, wrestling fans as a whole, the wrestling community, that this is the stuff that has to bring us together.
Yeah, and I
It's
mean,
one of those that you hate to fucking always be gathering at funerals.
yeah, and I mean, we've always said it from day one. The wrestling community is a wonderful community that brings people from all over the world together. We are walking proof of that. This chat is walking proof of that. And yeah, I mean, it's not all bad. The loud minority, get your shit together. Stop causing trouble. Other than that, man, like I said, a big heavy day here on the channel. Not much, or nothing to say about NXT. And as Nick said, 10 out of 10 to the Briscoes as you see them on our screen, from an old pay-per-view we did. And yeah, they're right there. And thoughts, prayers, wishes, best wishes, everything to the family, the friends. And as I said, the flooding of every level of wrestler in every different company coming out right now, with the groundswell of support, and they deserve it. And we hope the best for the other people involved in the accident. And thank you for sticking with us, guys. I mean, the numbers here on the live chat didn't drop off. You know, people hung around, and we appreciate it. It might not have been the most energized show, but yeah, give us some 10 out of 10s, guys.
But the fact that you even listened to us, the fact that you stuck around, the fact that, like I said, that's, as much as I said it sucks that this is the shit that brings us together. The fact that we came together and stayed together through all of this and just talking through it and all of that. Absolutely 10 out of 10 for that. You got anything else?
No, just I think we're ready to call it a night. And just once again, thank you.
I was just going to say, reach for the sky, boy. And we them boys.
That's it. That's it, folks. 10 out of 10. Thoughts and prayers. Rest in peace, Jay. Have a good night. See you on the flip side.